somewhere between cravats and Canadians, between All Out and Starrcade 83, there resides a come-as-you-are fandom better than a bunkhouse stampede. Somewhere between 86 Crockett and modern-day New Japan, between 83 Memphis and some elite golden plans. There's a man who's had so many concussions he thinks CTE is well, he forgot that line. And a girl who makes Effie look just slightly curious from time to time. It's time for John and Rajja, or perhaps Rajja and John, as they will put over Corny as well as Mr. Tony Khan. We are the future, the present, and the past. You'll never see it coming. It's the Blind Tag Wrestling Podcast! It's insert day here, and you know what that means. It's time for the BTW Podcast.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That's about as ladies and gentlemen, we are joined with my southern companion, Miss Rajja.
Howdy.
And when that didn't sound as southern. That sounded like someone trying to sound southern.
Oh, yeah, that was really bad.
Which I'm totally against that.
Yeah,
and
no.
I don't mind if somebody actually has. I mean, come on. I mean, I don't think I do, but Lord, do I.
Oh, I totally do.
Yeah.
There's no escaping it. Anyone I talk to from anywhere else in the world is like, wow,
yeah,
you're really southern.
Yeah.
And I'm like, please don't say that.
No, it's great. It's great. I mean, think about being a wrestling fan and being, especially from the part we're in, baby. We're in Fuller's territory. We're in Southeastern territory, the Continental territory, you know, later on the Smoky Mountain territory. We're in, there has been so many great wrestlers come from where we're at right now, you know, but we've also lived in the Northeast.
Yeah.
And in fact, some of the this is like the coolest shit ever. All right. This is really the coolest shit ever. I was thinking of this earlier. So we were, you know, down here and of course we'll get to the introductions in a second. You can put up with it. All right. Just go with me.
Just listen.
Just go with me, people. It's a live mic on tape delay. And if you miss anything, we'll all seen. But we also will replay it after the commercial break. It's something I always hated when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'll get back to the cool story.
Right.
But CTE, that wasn't a joke in the intro.
No, it's not.
So I would hate it. I'd be watching a match. It's like they wouldn't have a commercial for the whole show. And then it's like Barry Windham and Ric Flair. And you're like, oh my God. Oh yeah. And that's really what I did when Barry was on.
Right.
It was like, that was my moment of like, am I? But
40%.
Yeah. 40%. We'll get to that later on. I see you, Eric Darkstorm. I see you. But they would be like, okay, fans, this just started. But we got to go to commercial break. If anything happens, it would take them a minute to prep the commercial break.
Right.
If anything happens to happen during the commercial break that's coming up right now, here in just a second, we will have it tape rolling machines rolling, and we will go back to that what happened and show you the pinfall if that happens, or a DQ or submission, obviously, or a count out or anything like that. We will show you, fans, right after this, and then whoever the color commentator was, and the color commentator is supposed to be the athlete, the former wrestler who can give a little bit of, you know, just a little color,
a little bit of flavor,
a little bit of flavor to what's happening. So that the color commentator is supposed to be like, oh, that's a cravat, you know, and I was in one of those for an hour and 20 minutes in 1978,
right?
You know, the stuff like that. But instead, I think I can hear Johnny Weaver's voice in my head, and he'd be like, he wouldn't say crap. He wouldn't be exciting or anything unless they were going to commercial. And then he'd be like, oh, there's a punch and another punch. This one's going crazy. Holy. And it would go, and I'd be like, like freaking the hell out. They come back from commercial break. And when they come back, it's like a headlock takeover, sitting there working the headlock. I'm like, what happened to the fired up House of Fire? He said he's a House of Fire, you know?
they put it out.
Yeah, obviously they put it out. So anyway, the cool thing going back, see, I remembered.
Yes.
I remembered.
You circled back around.
We're already better than other podcasts because we remember. We don't leave you hanging.
No. We get back to the facts here.
Oh yeah. So we lived in the Northeast for a little while, and when we were down here in Tennessee, if you will, see, I did this indie wrestling thing from first time I ever stepped in a ring and interfered. I was like 14 years old. Sorry.
It's on your birthday, right?
14 years old, and it was a long time ago. We won't say when. Then I debuted years later on my birthday.
Oh, that was your birthday.
In the year 2000. So it was actually, truth be known, the week before my birthday, I did a run-in.
Ah.
And we did the angle where we were being trained. And by we, I mean my character, John Hawkins. And I was original Sin John Hawkins at the time. And actually, that's also a lie. Just remembered. Guys, CTE, folks. At the time, and this has only been brought up in my memory here recently for some reason, I was Hook Hawkins.
Oh, yeah. I remember why that came up in your memory.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, right?
Obviously.
So, it's great minds. And Taz.
And Taz. Always Taz.
You know, I think it speaks volumes. Anyway, so I was Hook Hawkins because I wanted to be a hooker, a shooter. I mean, I've always fancied myself a good, real fighter. So,
a good real fighter.
You know, and not that anything's not above the boards in this business, but, you know, I was like, well, Hook, you know, I was thinking of the book Hooker, and which is a beautiful pro wrestling just book about, you know, just Luthez and his shooting ability and, you know, his career and all this. And I was like, oh, man, the smart fans will get it.
Nobody got it, did they?
First time I pitched it, you know who you are. You know who you are. You know you're listening too because you're in love with me, but that's okay because we've had our times, right? We'll talk later. Call me, actually. If you think you know who you are, shoot me a text because I won't answer the phone. Probably won't answer the text either, but I'll look at it. I will look at it.
Just leave you hanging.
Absolutely. Got a lot on there hanging. So anyway, I was like, you know, I want to be Hook, and I'll finish with like a clothesline from hell variety, just to rip their freaking head off. And when I get them down, I'll put some kind of stretch on them or something. And that turned into the Russian leg sweep into the octopus, which I was doing in 2000 as a finish. Now, two things in a Tennessee hardcore indie that they didn't get in the year 2000. One of them was a submission finish, and the other was someone calling themselves Hook. So from the fans to the promoters to the boys, it wasn't going to work. So that lasted 1 week. And if anybody was there in attendance, amongst the 38 of you, you would have saw me come out, and we were the trainees, and we were all pretty and baby face and all this stuff, and we had to go through and slap everybody's damn dirty hands and all this stuff, and we get in there with our trainers, and we were just like blah 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 blah, and you know, we beat them up. They did this thing where the boys are going to seize your opportunity and all this. So
you seized your opportunity.
Well, and we did. We whipped the shit out of them, and then
maybe a little too much.
Yeah. So the next week, you know, I debuted on my birthday and won a match on my birthday, and then the next night I won a match on my birthday because my birthday is a 3-day event.
It's a week-long event.
It really is. I mean, it needs to be celebrated, and that's when I got my first concussion in wrestling because I'd already had several.
Right.
Motorcycle wrecks,
yeah,
things
you
like
didn't
that.
protect your head very well.
No. I need to protect the frontal lobe, is what the doctor said. So if you've ever wrestled a drunk guy shot up with morphine that has stop signs that are undoubtedly they have a heavier variety of stop signs somewhere in Greenville, Tennessee. And I got hit with, I swear to God, it was a 50-pound stop sign. And it hit me in the back of the head. I didn't see it coming. I have video of this somewhere. That was the night we had been arrested, taken out of the building. We come back, and we've got like on the satanic mask, the upside down stars. They're really cool. You know, as soon as I won the match, he, you know, almost killed me. So I, in turn, and this is Mikey's favorite story. Well, no, the coat hanger is his favorite story, but that's completely no cucumber. It's either the cucumber story, the coat hanger story, and those are both like Rizat stories, or or it's this, because he talks about this one a lot when he's introducing me to people. He's just like, oh my God.
He is the type.
This guy.
Just pull out an embarrassing story.
This guy. So, have you ever seen somebody get their head, like when they do the spot like Cactus Jack used to do, where he gets his head in between the top and the middle of the rope when he goes over and he's choking and stuff? Have you ever seen anybody get that done to him on a shoot?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe, right?
Not to my memory.
So,
but
just so you know, when somebody doesn't want that to happen to them, but somebody puts them in that forcefully, it's probably somebody that just got hit with a 50-pound stop sign.
Oh, I see.
So nobody was coming to help, brother.
So you were not the hangee.
No. No, I was not the hanger. I was the hangman. The real hangman.
The real hangman.
And I was going to kill him. I was going to let him die because it was already in my head. Look, I can claim stupidity, first match.
Insanity.
Well, first match, temporary insanity. There was a bunch of things in my head. And any time that I've almost killed someone, all that stuff pops in my head.
All the excuses.
It does, yeah, right off the bat. It's like,
well, smart thinking.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing. So anyway, all those years, all this, in the wrestling career, boom, short. It was unspectacular, had some little fun things happen here and there, but really it was my mouth
that got you places.
That got me places. And, so John Hawkins, the manager extraordinaire, it's been a litany, and we'll get into that years and years that this thing will happen.
You'll hear lots of stories.
You will. And I'll make sure that it always includes somebody that's actually known. So anytime there's some great John Heidenreich stories of him thinking I'm an agent. Because he thought we had agents. He was fresh out of WWE. There's some great Gypsy Joe stories of him whooping my ass. So
as is usual.
Yeah, I still owe Bo for that. I'll never forget Bo James just laughing, just he gonna whoop your ass. And just like, oh yeah, man, okay.
Yeah, you've got stories for days.
Oh yeah, you don't know Gypsy Joe. He gonna whoop your ass, and he did. He did. He's a stiff bastard. So then we went to the Northeast, and we got to experience it as a fan.
That was a lot of fun.
And it was a lot of fun. Any of you Northeastern fans, you would recognize us because you can see us still on some of the better, like American Rana from 2018?
18, I think. It would be 18, yeah. Because it was late 17 and most of 2018 that we were circling through that whole Northeast scene from like the top of Maine all the way down to Boston.
Well, the lower than that, in New York. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess we did go to New York.
So, I mean, it was, we did the New England thing, man, and I still recognize, like, everybody. That's a really cool difference, man, of fandom, right? Mm-hmm. So with the fans in pro wrestling, and especially in the indies, because it's just the best, you see this different kind of, like in southern indies, there's people that are close in a particular town. So if we wrestle in, say, Greenville or Morristown or Knoxville, there's going to be, with the exception of maybe 3 or 4 people, there's going to be those Knoxville fans or those Greenville fans or those Bristol fans. And they really don't travel. They just don't.
No, it's always the same fans.
Yeah, it is. And a lot of times they don't travel. Our Kingsport fans, I rarely have ever seen those anywhere else except for maybe 2, 4, 6 people that will travel and hit all the towns, and they usually end up being in the business.
Yeah.
I mean,
they just love it that much.
Yeah. I mean, but in the Northeast, it's a different animal entirely.
Oh, God.
It was so beautiful.
So much fun. Everybody
was so courteous and nice. You always see these rowdy Northeastern fans. Yes. They are rowdy with their unison chants.
Yes.
With their
love of the business.
Yeah, I mean, they know how to get a show over. They're not just going to sit there on their thumbs. They're really invested and they're part of it. And a lot of these Northeastern indies, though, also encouraged them to be part of it.
Yeah.
They really were. I mean, you think about Limitless. We were there at the early days of Limitless Wrestling. We were there during the glory days of some of the bigger ones like Evolve or Progress and Beyond.
Some of those dual shows. Wrestling. Some of those Evolve, Beyond dual shows.
Oh, yeah.
Progress coming in.
Some of the things we've seen. I mean,
the Northeast is what really got me into wrestling.
Yeah.
Because, I've obviously been around the business my entire life, but I was never as involved in wrestling as I am now.
If somebody did a deep cut, they could find...
No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do a deep cut. Don't listen to him. Just don't go looking for things.
Just saying. If someone did a deep cut, I won't say when or where, they may find something from 6 or 7 years ago. You know, they may find you managing people or something like that. I don't know.
For one night.
Well, you were still Rajja Hawkins.
And I didn't know that much about wrestling back then either. I didn't really get into it until 2017.
Well, there you go.
When I started learning about wrestling.
And that's what this show is all about. So all that was to get us to the fact that if you're old school, it's for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you're new school, it's for you.
Yeah.
If you're a novice or an expert, we've got you covered. All right. So we're all about the unified world of fans. We're all about the love of the business, the love of pro wrestling. Not about, now, will we critique? You're damn right. Will we make fun of? Absolutely. Will we celebrate as much as possible? And, you know, that's really what we love everything.
We love wrestling. You love wrestling. Let's all love wrestling together.
It's a big old slap happy love fest.
Exactly.
And, you know, for the two of you remaining, you need to seek help. I'm just telling you, this has been an intervention. Your parents paid for it. You need to look for help. It's not that much love. Look, we're gonna throw shade. I have the shadestress beside me.
It's not as bad as everyone says it is.
No, it's pretty bad.
They always mimic lights blowing out and stuff.
Yeah, we have a stuffed monkey that watches wrestling with us that looks up at the lights every time she throws shade, because she throws shade a lot.
I'm so invested in the show, and I don't say something unless it's something that needs to be said. And whenever I say something, they're like, wow, throwing shade.
No, we don't say anything. We don't say a word.
Okay, that's fair.
You're a dirty, rotten liar. The monkey looks up at the lights and acts like it's dark in the room. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have a purple monkey in your house, that's
gonna need some explanation.
Oh, it does. So you got to get a purple monkey, the purple wrestling monkey. He watches all the wrestling shows with us. He's been here for years and years and years. And yes, he's a dirty, nasty monkey. You can't find another like him because we got him from a carny.
I just don't think he likes me very much.
And, well, we're pretty sure that he is possessed by the spirit of a nasty, nasty, dirty wrestling promoter that probably popped himself in like 84. And it's just, we have a lot of fun with the monkey. Maybe we'll put some monkey pics up on the Patreon.
The monkey's going to make appearances now. Oh, yeah. We can't not have the monkey everywhere now.
Yeah. The monkey.
He's the official mascot.
Yeah, the monkey's the mascot. So Purple Monkey and his dirty ass.
He's so dirty.
We'll be part of it. We might make a t-shirt for Purple Monkey.
Oh my God.
Because I kid you not, he has watched every show with us for years and years.
He's been around since longer than I can even remember.
Yeah, seriously, I
think he's always been here. I
got him at a carnival that I guarantee was ran by outlaw luchadors. I was convinced they were an outlaw luchador group that on the side was running this carnival that honestly I felt dangerous just sitting in. To call it a tent would be doing a disservice to tents. And they got up there. It was obviously a family. I was expecting Robin, the Mexican Robin, to be born.
Oh God.
Because I just knew somebody was going to fall to their death.
Luchador Robin.
Yes. Oh, wow. You know, CMLL will have that like next week.
Yeah, they will.
Rabino. But it was cool, and there was somebody selling. This little girl had to be one of the daughters or something, and she was selling gimmicks. But the gimmicks were strange. They were those monkeys that kind of hang, you know, and
the hanging monkeys.
Everybody's seen the hanging.
With the Velcro on the hands.
Right. Except this one was the only purple, and it was the only filthy, nasty looking one that there was just something wrong with it. Its eyes were mismatched. It was just, and if I'm buying a stuffed animal, I go to the store looking for the mismatched eyes. I look for the creepy factor. I look for something that makes this thing one of the misfit toys.
Yes, we are the island of misfit toys in this house.
Absolutely, because we are all a little bit off. And,
a little bit.
That really sums it up. So something else we've done fun here recently is back years and years ago, I was so into wrestling figures. I mean, obviously growing up, being a wrestling fan, it was a wonderful time to be 10 years old because of the Remco line of AWA figures, which somehow had Ric Flair, and well, we know how none of the guys got paid. That's why it didn't last very long. But I had all the Remcos except for that bloody last line with the rockers and all that. Makes me mad still. And then the LJNs that you could kill your friends with.
Really?
Oh my God! Like the 10-pound Bundy. And,
wow.
The best figures ever. They were also. I actually like the AWA figures because of the talent.
Right.
It was the Stan Hansen and the Road Warriors and the Freebirds and Jimmy Garvin and Kurt Hennig, and it was really awesome. Ric Flair, like I said, it was really cool. Zbyszko. I could go on and on. Scott Hall. Jesus.
I know most of those names.
Yes, you do. You do. And the LJNs, of course, the WWF. Line of things. I had all those except for the final 30 run that they only did like in Canada or whatever. I don't know. I'm still mad about some of that stuff. But and then during the 90s, I got into like rarities and all this stuff, and during the wrestling boom and the Monday Night Wars, really got into it. And I was only buying the ones that were rare, like Al Snow and Head and Stephanie No Panties, and ordering Mexican figures like Vampiro Cantonese, and
only the ones your friends wouldn't have.
And then that first Legends like off-brand with Abby. I had Abby regular and Abby Blood.
Wow. That's some detail.
Well, I mean, Abdullah was it's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. So
yeah, I know.
Just had to have him, and then I sold them all, every single one of them, because I was making room, and it's one of the stupid decisions you make in your life, and that's one I will regret till the day I die.
And then you go back and you're like, why did I do that?
I do that often, especially when I see how much they went up because of these stupid podcasts with people talking about wrestling figures.
Everybody wants the figures now.
Yeah, so it just makes me angry, but that's okay because I'm over it. So I started buying. I was like, my God, these AEW figures are that's really cool. There hasn't been anything that really piqued my interest in a while.
So we have to have them all. Yeah,
I got Series 1, 2, and 3, and I've got the authentic scale ring with the Kenny Omega.
Yes.
And we're going on now let me tell you about Crazy Ass here.
What?
So we're on a figure hunt, and we enjoy going on figure hunts. Now we've already got them coming from Ringside Collectibles, right?
Yes, we did the pre-order,
but we still wanted to go find some, not to sell them but to play with them. And
yes, I wanted to get some for my little boy.
Killer needed some, and we were looking for them there, and man, I'm telling you, I haven't heard a squeal like I heard when we found some Series 2.
Listen, I've never been able to do anything like that. There's never been anything where I'm actually looking for something that's hard to find, and then you find it out in the wild. It's the best feeling ever.
Yeah, it really is, especially when people can't find it.
I'm pretty sure there were a lot of expletives uttered at that moment, and me running down the aisle.
Yeah, it was really cool. There was a fat guy, and the fat guy is probably listening right now. He was being mean to his wife, and they were walking by the aisle we were on right before we found them. And she goes, "You've already looked down that aisle?" He goes, "Yeah, I looked in it." Yeah.
They were in the wrong spot, to be fair. They were not where they were meant to be.
No, they were not. They were completely on the other side of wrestling figures, but they were there. So we found them, got them all, and we were walking up the next aisle, and brother sees it.
I was carrying them.
Literally stomps his foot like a 5-year-old and takes off, probably to beat his wife.
To be fair, he says we got them all. There were only 3 figures, and there were 3 different figures. We didn't just buy a ton of them that we could have left for other people. It was just 3.
Got them all that were there.
Yeah.
That was 3.
Yes.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, we didn't poach a bunch.
Right.
We're not those people.
But tomorrow we're going on another hunt, and this is just for those chase variants. Because a lot of people are finding them, and we're going to find them. We might go to Carolinas, we might go to Pennsylvania. You never know. We're going to find some chase figures.
We're going to do it this time. It's going to happen.
Oh, yeah,
We're going to get at least one.
Oh, yeah. We're going to get more than one.
You think?
We're going to get more than one. I had her watch the aisle because we found a box that was unopened. And it was like we were committing thievery. And her or I, neither one are like this. And
no.
Finally, we were looking at this pallet, and we had already been to like 8 Walmarts.
This was our second to last stop.
Yeah. So we stop in this town, and the reason I stopped there is because there's a cursed town, and I'm not going to get into it, but I'm just saying, there's a town that I hate, I despise, I spit on this town. And I was like, we're not going to go to that one. Then a little voice in my head was like, because that's the one you didn't go to. It'll be the one that has the figures.
Yeah. So
we went. And we're looking, of course, there's none on the aisle, and then it's stock night, so we're looking there, and they've got a pallet, and I see it. And it was like the skies opened up. It's like everything happened, and I was like, Rajja, watch the aisle.
Had AEW on the box.
And man, brother, I ripped that box to shreds, and we suckered every one of them out of there, and it was the full set, and yeah. $160 later, we were
like, I don't know what we just did.
Yeah, but it felt good.
It did. It was fun. We were like running up to the checkout with
skipping hand in hand.
Our 6 figures.
Yeah, it was very nice. Very nice.
No chases though.
No chase variants, but that's okay because it was a full set. You know what else is okay? If you want to follow us, which you do, and you need to, it's the easiest thing in the world. Go to any of those social media, dirty Illuminati world rulers and find us at BT Wrestling Pod. That is BT Wrestling Pod.
Yeah.
And that's how you can find us on the Tweeter machine, on the Instagram, on the Patreon, and on a Facebook. Either way, go there and give us a like. We really appreciate it. However you're listening to the podcast, please subscribe, leave us a good review, a 5-star Dave Meltzer glowing review. If there's more stars and you only leave 5, I will find you and I will take your wrestling figures or something. But no, really appreciate it, guys. And just BT Wrestling Pod. And by the way, if you want to know what the BTW is, it is because it is blind tag wrestling, because you'll never see it coming. There's no certain thing that we're going to cover week to week. It's a plethora of wrestling content. It can be old school, it can be new school, it can be no school at all. We can be like school's out for the summer. I mean, it doesn't matter.
We could be talking about figures. We could have guests. We could do old watch-alongs, new watch-alongs. We could do anything.
Well, we're going to do...
Not even know.
We're definitely going to do some watch-alongs. It's going to be for the patrons.
So you better go sign up.
So it's going to be pretty much unofficially titled The Education of Rajja. But
we're learning some things.
I've got some things, and not your traditional, hey, go to the network and, all this, and... it's going to be, some of it's going to be, hey, go to the network, obviously, because it's easy. But some of it's going to be, hey, go to Amazon, because, man, Amazon's got some old Memphis on there. They've got some old Continental, and I really probably will start there with one of the greatest feuds of all time, and we'll talk about that next time.
Oh, I'm excited.
But, yeah, you will be very excited when you watch this.
Can't wait.
It is one of my favorite memories of all time, so... Again, BT Wrestling Pod, and you will not regret it that much. I promise. All right, on this first episode, we can't help but, just because of the timing of the episode taking place, we would be remiss if we did not talk about the passing of Brodie Lee. Rest in peace, Brodie Lee. I think that we all seen something beautiful, and we were talking about the wrestling community coming together, and I don't know if we've ever seen a better example of that than what we just witnessed with the Brodie Lee passing.
It was absolutely amazing how it brought everyone together, and I can't imagine it having gone a better way.
Yeah. No.
Given the circumstances.
No, I don't think that there was any possible way that it could have been any better. I know some people were like, hey, WWE could have done a tribute on that Monday night more than what they had done, because a couple of the boys mentioned, something or, things like that. But listen, it is unprecedented, not to defend the evil empire, but it is unprecedented for someone that's no longer in the company for this to happen. But it's also unprecedented to have somebody at the very tip-toppy of their career And the resurgence of, he was so happy. He was finally getting to do what he wanted to do, having the creative control, and he turned the Dark Order into a very unpopular act. And, a little bit over a year ago, that people were attacking him for having really bad punches.
Yeah.
One of the extras, to people like kind of groaning when it was a Dark Order segment. That happened, folks.
Yeah, it did. The Dark Order was crap at the beginning.
And I was at so many of those live events. And I mean, God almighty, I from everywhere from Alabama, Tennessee, North Carolina, just all these dynamites.
You're getting around.
Yeah, and it was electric. It was electric. It was this fandom that was just hungry. It was like being at a Nitro back in the day in many ways. But Brodie Lee, it was a sad story. I mean, it was just sad.
It was.
I mean, to be who he was and what he had recently done, and a lot of popularity seeing the other side of him with being the elite. The Dark Order segments on there pretty much took over being the elite.
That was the best part.
People are looking forward to it, and he got over those guys.
He did.
We had seen John Silver for years, and on indies and thick boy, all this stuff, so I'm just really glad that we did get what we got, in the time in the time that we did, to get to appreciate him for the wrestling mind that he has, obviously, or had. And it was wonderful, I thought, what Tony Khan did.
Oh yeah, it was amazing. Like, watching that, it gives you so many emotions that you can't process, and it was all a shock anyway, the way it happened, because it was so soon for us, because obviously we weren't clued in to what was going on as it was going on. But it was such a shock to the system already, and then seeing that show, it just...
Well, I mean, things have changed. The last time anything close to this happened was Eddie Guerrero's death. And when that happened, just because of a universally loved figure, but when that happened, social media, if there was social media, it was in its infancy. And, now you are so close to the performers. You're so close to the wrestlers. There is nothing left, and I know there's proponents of that and there's detractors. We're not going to get into all that. I'm just saying that it's a new day in wrestling where, you can follow the kid basically from his first day in wrestling school.
You feel like you know them personally.
Oh yeah, well, you're seeing what they're doing every single moment of every single day, and if you're a huge Mizark for them, you're going to see it, all the way through. So we got to see his personality come out. We got to see, with being the elite, and he did some podcasts, did some interviews, and really got to hear about how much he loved his family. And that was the universal thing I think everybody could identify with, was this guy loved his family. And he was a family first dude, and every time that somebody was talking to him, it was about, his wife and kids, man. And that's
so sweet.
It's so nice in this day and time.
Yeah.
To hear that story instead of how he gave a rat some knockout juice and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
There's so many shoots, right? And all these shoot interviews and stuff, it's always like, that's when... we put a fence around it, and
didn't hear that with Brodie Lee.
No, it was different, and it's a different time, So I'll tell you, man, that job he did. Oh, good Lord, the jobbing out of Cody to win that TNT title.
Oh Jesus, I don't think we handled that very well.
I mean, it was such a great performance.
It's a glorious moment.
And I like that better than the dog collar match. I know people just love the dog collar match.
I would agree with that.
And, it's a dog collar match is great, with Valentine sitting out in the crowd. I have different expectations for a dog collar match just because of that being one of my favorite matches ever. God knows it's hard to mimic Piper, right? Because Piper just always looked like he was really fighting, because he probably was. But that match, anything Cody's been in has been fantastic, 5 stars. And, I think the overall performer, Cody Rhodes, has been absolutely the most valuable player. I know that the Kenny argument's going to come up. I get that. And there's a lot of other people on that roster.
Well, and in this moment, Kenny's just now hitting his groove in AEW, in my opinion. So Cody has been stable throughout.
Well, yeah, if you think about all the matches when it's built up to Cody's main event match.
Yeah.
And you look back at like Cody and Dustin in that blood match. I mean,
Cody and MJF, that whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, and then his run defending the TNT title.
Yeah.
And where, is he doing too much? And the story, there's so many stories interwoven into other stories. And that's one of the beautiful things about AEW. And we'll get into that here in a little bit with some of, AEW New Japan stuff. But we want to review a couple shows here.
Oh, man, this week in wrestling.
Yeah.
My goodness.
The most emotional week ever in pro wrestling overall. And I'm talking emotions, highs, and of course starting out with low, but it turns into kind of a high, and then highs get exceeded with more highs.
A necessary low, a beautiful low that we all shared.
Yeah. I thought the tribute show, as you've already said, the tribute show could not have been any better.
No.
I mean, from the very start of it, it was done classy. It was, -1 getting celebrated, and the poor little kid, he held it together till the end, it seemed.
Yeah, he did really well up until he got in the ring, which I'm proud of him for. I definitely wouldn't be the same way.
Well, it all went down December 30th of 2020. You remember that year, right? So
what a year.
We started it off with Young Bucks and Colt Cabana against Matt Hardy and Private Party. Now, the whole theme of the night was for the night only, the baby faces had accepted Dark Order into their fold of the babyface people.
We were all Dark Order.
Yeah, it's basically #We Are Dark Order. And everybody was feeling it, man. But I'll tell you, from that first match, my God, there was something going on. There was something in the water. Because Colt Cabana looked better than he's looked since he's been on the roster.
Everyone turned it up to 11 for sure.
Dude, it was a great match. Young Bucks up. Of course, all the baby faces are going to win.
And then, of course, we had Lance Archer teaming with Evil Uno and Stu Grayson, and Lance wearing the tribute to Brodie's old character from WWE, Luke Harper.
Yes.
Which was beautiful. They beat Eddie Kingston, the Butcher and the Blade, in a great match. And Eddie Kingston, I think, he gave such an emotional promo that we saw. He just floored me with that. And he's a great talker anyway.
Absolutely. And one of the things that may be an Easter egg, really, they showed it on BTE eventually, I think, but Evil Uno, starting off with that, having the ref check and doing the big kick, and that was from, I don't know if you can call it viral, but a Big Rig, Brodie Lee indie character name, doing the big kick there, and it was exactly like it. It was awesome. Evil Uno, my God.
He looked great.
He looked better than I've ever seen him. I think you would agree. Evil Uno's normally not the one that sticks out. I think that's by design.
Yeah, he's the invisible hand.
Yeah.
As Don Callis would say.
Yeah, exactly. But he's the glue. In many ways, and
he's number one.
Him and Stu had to sit on the sidelines in Canada waiting because of the pandemic. He had to sit on the sidelines in Canada watching the Dark Order, their baby, come to life,
the thing that they began.
So that couldn't have been easy. So this was a big deal, man. And the Eddie Kingston promo, I think everybody will always remember. But again, everybody turning it up. We go from that to Hangman Adam Page, John Silver, and Alex Reynolds.
Great team.
Against MJF, Santana, and Ortiz.
Another great team.
What can you say about this match? My God, if you didn't cry, if you didn't get a tear in your eye, there's a tear in my eye. If you didn't get a tear in your eye when Eric Redbeard, come out to help him.
Oh, man, that was, just on the heart, man.
I was good until the Giant made that face.
When he started, we all started.
Yeah.
Can't stop it after that.
When he made the face, I lost it, man. I just did. I'd already lost it a few times. I'm not going to lie. I lost it from the opening of the show.
Yeah, from the salute.
For many reasons. I think, like I said, a lot of us felt very similar. I feel that way about my fam. And it's just, I don't know, man. Just, he was young. He was too young.
Listen, John Silver broke my heart all week.
Yeah.
I can't handle him being sad because he's always so happy and just upbeat about everything.
But man, did he deliver in this match.
Oh yeah, he definitely got it done.
Just MVP, man.
He always does.
Yeah.
But he's one of the best workers. Like, we even saw it in Northeast. He's amazing.
Yeah, he really is. He really is. He's great. Been very underappreciated until this point, and I think now he is getting his due. I think he is going to be utilized correctly, and he really should be. He deserves it.
All eyes are on Silver.
MJF did a fantastic job interacting with -1 and being his normal asshole self.
What a heel.
And I think that that's perfect. I think, he obviously does that, and you couldn't really break that up. It wouldn't be genuine with him. It was, even though it is, nice guy, but being the heel is a great way to do it, man. And I thought
somebody had to be.
I thought it was perfect taking the shot, and he actually got peppered a little with it, and that was good. It wasn't.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, it was. I liked it.
Then we have some action in the women's division.
Mm-hmm.
We have Anna Jay and Ty Conti versus Britt Baker and Penelope Ford, and our girls got it done.
Man.
Anna Jay and Ty Conti, that is.
I'm a big fan of Anna Jay this early in her career. I mean, my God.
She's just amazing.
And not even a year in, there's something about her. And Ty Conti, the same thing. She is a legit badass, and I just hope that they keep letting that shine. They were featured last week on Dark, and the cool thing is they're featured on Dark again this week in singles matches. They're backing each other up in it. So I guess Ty Conti may be in the Dark Order, or is that's coming? Or,
I do hope they keep them together in a sense, but I am excited to see them both excel as singles wrestlers, because I think either of them could hold the belt easily very soon.
Yeah, and I think that we're getting a lot of women's action and a lot of development with the storylines. I know that was one of the early things that people were saying about AEW, where, well, they don't feature the women, and, they got that one match. And listen, guys.
They needed time.
They have 2 hours a week. Okay, 2 hours a week, and arguably one of the bigger rosters that they've continually added to. And we're not talking about Dark here. We just say 2 hours of their feature show a week, and in that time, you're really trying to push these, stories and angles. And oh, by the way, which company decided not to terminate anybody's contract during the pandemic? Oh, ding ding, it was AEW, and they didn't fire anybody. To the credit of Tony Khan, once again. They may say, okay, the pandemic's over, and 40 people lose their job. I don't know. I know, that could happen. All right,
we're done being nice. Go get another job.
Business is business.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some people I would have probably popped already.
Right.
To be honest with you, if somebody blew up in the ring after a minute and a half or something,
Well, I definitely think they needed a minute to develop their women's roster. Like, they started out with good women, but they really needed to build it at first.
Yeah.
And now they're starting to get in the swing of things and really develop storylines around the women and give them more of a chance to show what they're made of, which is amazing. They're all great.
Agreed. And Rajja and I, our favorite show is Dark.
Oh, we love Dark.
It's insane. Like, we watch it basically by ourselves. Ariana, as you'll hear, the characters to be named later, but
supporting characters.
Yeah, Ariana watches it with us in her sleep mode, but she does at least make the attempt. And for some reason, I don't know, we push play and it's asleep. I think Purple Monkey does something with it, but Purple Monkey likes it too. And I love watching squash matches. There's just something about a squash match. I was raised on squash matches. We were able to do squash matches with Tag Team I Managed, KMF, which doesn't happen on the indies very much, but we were one of the only weekly running episodes with TV, that was going on in the nation, really, as long as we did it locally with Championship Wrestling and NWA Smoky Mountain and all this stuff. We were CW at the time, and we did weekly on TV. People were seeing these 2 6'7" monsters come to the ring with me, and we squashed whoever. And I had to talk all these guys in. Like, I had to book these guys, and I'd be calling other local feds and be like, "Oh yeah, we want to use you on the TV show, and you'll have a featured match. It's the main event. It'll be fine." "Oh, it's just kind of weird. Never got a call from Tony." Or, "Oh no, it's fine. It's fine. He wanted me to call you." It's just I booked the guys from other places. "Oh, okay. well, it seems pretty safe. And then none of those guys speak to me now.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine so.
Not a single one. So, but I love squash matches.
Yeah.
They're fantastic because that's how you develop somebody. That's how you show the finisher. When you do the same finisher each week, it gets over. It's so easy to get people over.
People are excited to see it.
Listen, there's no shows happening weekly for these guys. They don't have the house shows. They might add house shows later, especially after the pandemic. But right now, with what they've got to worry about, this is the only ring time these folks are getting in front of the cameras. So every match they get better.
Yeah.
And I love watching that development.
I think Dark has so much going for it because there's no time limit. There's no commercials. Taz and Excalibur together are just funny.
The inside jokes.
Just so funny.
Just the mumbling stuff. If you could only make out...
ribbing each other.
Oh, yeah. I love the fact they let that fly.
Yeah, they can literally do anything on there, and they have some pretty amazing matches every week. So.
Yeah, they do, and I enjoy it, man. If you guys aren't watching Dark, if you're not checking that out, you need to check it out.
Go watch it.
So we finish up with the main event, and this was picked by -1, Brodie Jr.'s favorite wrestlers in one match there. So you had 10, Cody Rhodes, and Orange Cassidy, Das Wunderkind, against Team Taz. And man... that match was great. It was. But the video. After the match, the video tribute that Mr. Khan bought the rights to play the song in perpetuity. It was like my favorite word of the week. I was like, man.
John's word of the week.
Really love that word perpetuity. I just like saying it. It gives your mouth a workout.
Right.
But it was just amazing. The video, if anybody had a dry eye, they were like, yeah, you're not going to leave with a dry eye.
Uh-huh.
No way. No, everybody's contributing to this tear glass.
I mean, what happened in the ring after the match would get anyone.
Well, retiring the belt. I mean, the belt, not the championship.
Yeah.
Tony giving it to -1 and making him the lifetime holder of it. And of course, signing him to a contract for if he wants to be a wrestler and when that time comes and he's old enough. And it's just some amazing stuff. I think that it was a time that the world needed it, and as bad as a thing has happened to cause that, they showed a video with current WWE roster guys.
They did. They are not shy of the past.
No, and you're not going to see that anywhere else. If the roles were reversed, I don't have to even wonder.
No.
There would be nothing. There would be nothing showing anybody contracted somewhere else. And they just gave 0 Fs, and they did it. And
they put this over anything else, which is how it should be.
Yeah, I mean, it was great.
It wasn't something we could just gloss over, and we all needed it, and I think they did it fabulously.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not about the quality of the matches of the show, but they were all quality.
Yeah, there wasn't a bad match.
And Dark Order, like we said, Dark Order brought it. And if they weren't already stars, they're obviously babyface now. Their merch is everywhere. Everybody's Dark Order. I don't know. Well, it'd be interesting to see where this develops.
Yeah, I'm not sure where they're going to take the Dark Order from here. I kind of hope they don't just get a new Exalted one. I don't think they'll do that because they're more creative than that. But I'm interested to see what they're going to do with the group.
Yeah, I mean, you can actually do their struggle of where do we go from here kind of thing.
The leaderless Dark Order, what are we going to do?
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I haven't been watching that.
From here. I was just talking about the song. Little Anthony Head.
Well, I'm sure whatever they come up with, it'll be great.
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
like everything else.
And just like this next thing we're going to talk about, which great doesn't touch it.
Oh, man.
It's that time of year, folks. It's 1/4. And you know what that means. In the world of wrestling, that does not mean Legends Night on WWE, because guess what we're not going to cover? That. What we are going to cover is Wrestle Kingdom 15 Nizat Wizon. January 4th, 2021, in the Tokyo Dome, where they had a rabid crowd of like 12,000, 15,000, something like that. It's hard to tell because it looks full.
It was less than half the normal.
It is what it is. But they're shoehorning more fans in than I'm seeing anybody else do.
Well, I'm sure the Japanese fans are
careful.
Yeah.
Yeah, very careful. I mean, I'm pretty sure that it's the most respectful country on the planet Earth.
They haven't chanted anything at any show since this started. Okay, they mostly haven't chanted anything at any show.
One of our collective favorite matches of the entire year.
Yeah, we won't be covering it really because it wasn't this week.
No, it won't, but I'm sure in the future we'll do a long form on Hiromu.
Oh, man.
We'll probably do a feature on Hiromu at some point. But Best of Super Juniors final. Hiromu Takahashi going against Desperado. Desperado was somewhat of a surprise to make it there.
Yeah.
And once we get there, and of course we're facing all these with the pandemic, you don't have your normal people that was basically in the United States version of the Super J Cup. Those folks would normally be in the Best of Super Juniors. Plus you would have like your Dragon Lee probably. You would have normally a who's who going all the way back. But this year it was all your New Japan guys. And some of the matches were matches.
They were matches.
All the Hiromu matches were fantastic. And they were featured in every town, even though he's not the champion at the time.
Ooh.
And, you know, so here you have Mr. Bone Soldier himself, Ishimori.
Big mad.
Completely pissed off for a good reason.
Yeah, I agree.
And, I mean, you're the champ. Why aren't you featured, right? So I would be mad.
He's not the face of the junior heavyweight division.
Right, the face that runs the place. So Rajja got a beautiful Christmas present, by the way, from some really cool dude, and but she got the Hiromu cats, the
Daryl and Naru.
You know, they watched it with us. But the Best of Super Juniors final, listen, if you haven't seen it, if you don't have the network for New Japan, you need to get New Japan World. You just need to get it.
And just go watch that match.
Even if you just spend the $10 and you get it from 1 week to watch Wrestle Kingdom and you watch this match, go back and watch this match. The final, listen, Despy, the story goes all the way back to them being young boys. And they always have this long, long story in there. But they gave it everything they absolutely had. And poor Despy has been the underling of Suzuki and Minoru Suzuki in Suzuki-gun this entire time, and he gets the crap beat out of him before shows. And I may or may not know that because of one of my best friends being on the roster, and we'll get to that in a minute. But you know, I know some of the stuff that Despy has had to go through.
It's a hard boot to get out from under.
Yeah, absolutely, man, or to avoid in the face. And but Hiromu and Despy beat the crap out of each other.
Oh,
it was
so good.
So physical, so good, so dramatic, just your classic New Japan main event. And Despy had his damn mask ripped off. And
not only did he have his mask ripped off, he had his mask half ripped off, stood up, and took the rest of it off himself to a chorus of gasps and shouts from the fans.
Yeah. The first time during the whole pandemic, all the polite Japanese folks being quiet like this, you know, I don't even think they talk to each other like even quietly. And they've learned how to clap people's names because they're allowed to clap, but they can't chant. So if it's Hiromu, it'll be like, you know, they're doing the chants and they're with their hands and all this stuff. This is the first time we hear them. This is the first time we hear them really make that sound, man. You talk about heat.
I don't blame them.
I mean, it was so awesome.
I'm pretty sure I stopped breathing for like 3 minutes.
It was amazing. We were just so flabbergasted. And then it was one of those go out and make everybody watch, you know, handcuff people. Even if they don't like wrestling, you got to watch this match. You will like it afterwards. But back to the case at hand here, Wrestle Kingdom 15, Night 1. We started with the New Japan Rambo, which is the Royal Rumble version of their pre-show. This one was going to finish a little differently, not with your traditional winner, but the last 4 remaining would be facing each other the next night for the Provisional King of Pro Wrestling Championship, which you have to hold all through the year and defend it the whole year while people come up with crazy match stipulations to try to win it from you. It's a strange, bizarro world type of thing that it's been perfect for Yano to have in 2020.
Yes, it was.
And so this was starting it all over. And, you know, so we're going to have a new King of Pro Wrestling that goes into it. So your last 4 was my boy, the crown jewel of the Bullet Club, my friend. You know, I managed him and a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. One of my favorite promos I ever did that still survived on YouTube out of a million great promos. But Chase Owens survived. And let me tell you, I talked to him before the match. And, you know, he was just like his normal self. He's like, this will be okay. You know, and nothing fancy. So he goes out there and, man, listen, people just like to shit on the Royal Rumble thing. They like to crap on the Battle Royal. They always have, and they always will. But I thought the performance was fantastic. It was great, and I got so excited when it looked like he was going to be one of the last 4.
Oh, yeah.
I was so shocked. And
we were pumped.
Oh, man. Just the fact that he was going to be featured on night 2 in a featured match.
Especially since he was number 1 going in.
Yeah, he pulled a HBK there. And I think he had the 2nd or 3rd longest ring time of anybody for the 2-day combination.
Oh.
So, a little trivia there.
That's awesome.
But your final 4 were Chase Owens, Bad Luck Fale, or as I like how the translation comes out on New Japan World, Bad Rack Fare. It's the best thing I've ever seen, and I cannot look at the man without seeing Bad Rack Fare.
He will always be Bad Rack Fare to us.
He is Bad Rack Fare. We need somebody like local jobber or local dude that we call Bad Rack Fare
to turn into Bad Rack Fare.
Yeah, it could be a female wrestler actually.
There you go.
Get like
flat chest.
Yeah. Well, no. It's a bad rack, Rajja. It's got to be one of those that's looking different directions.
Oh God!
It's like around the back.
That's awful.
Put a normal butcher one piece on her and like have them tucked in under her arm.
That's awful.
Bad rack. Fare. And we had Bushi, which is my least favorite wrestler in LIJ. You know, that's up for grabs though because it teeters between him and Sonata.
Yeah,
I'm just not a Sonata guy.
We have special arguments for Sonata.
Well, I think he's got all the talent in the world. He's one of those guys that you hear like, well, this guy's got all the potential. How long does that last?
When you have all the talent and none of the character.
Yeah, what's the shelf life on potential?
Yeah, I mean, you can when you do the same match over and over again.
Yeah, and that's stupid. I'm not even going to talk about the lot.
Talk about the Paradise Lock.
Oh my God, there is nothing. Man, this is hard because New Japan Pro Wrestling is my favorite thing on the planet. Okay,
same.
But the Paradise Lock is my least favorite thing in wrestling. And I can't think of anything that I hate worse than the Paradise Lock. I really can't. It bothers me. It's like the most realistic, hard-hitting thing you can ever have for 2.5 hours every show, and the Paradise Lock.
What about a Taguchi hip attack?
I don't mind that as bad.
Okay.
Because I come from the time of Iceman King Parsons in the butt. Because I'll never forget Bill Mercer going, oh, and there's the butt.
I guess the difference is Taguchi's not trying to be serious. Mm-hmm. When Sonata does the Paradise Lock, it's like doom and gloom. Like suddenly they're screwed. Maybe
I'll actually have somebody put me in that, and I'll be surprised.
Maybe.
Like if
we'll have to figure out how to do it first.
Yeah, you put me in it, and well, we can't get Chase to show us, obviously. I mean, that's if you've not seen that comedy, that's some good comedy. See, Chase brings that Southern comedy, man, and then they need that over there. There's just none of that, and you're trained a different way here. Like when I was first trained, and I came in as a tag team, the first thing I was ever shown was the tag team comedy spots, the tag for the heels, and like because we were heels, and you're taking your opponent over to the corner, and they're facing the crowd. Your partner's facing the crowd, and you take your opponent over, and you draw the ref, and he's pump handling the arm, and the guy's jumping in the air as he pulls his straight arm over his shoulder, and he's jawing at somebody in the front row. Yeah, and the baby face like, oh, and you're working the arm up and down, and it happens again, right? And you're doing it, and the fans are hating it, the fans are spitting, throwing their babies at you, and they're just like, these bastards, this stupid ref. Well, the third time, it's actually, the baby face pops you and puts your arm over there where your partner's still not looking, and takes your arm, and you're screaming, and the whole place just erupts, and they love it, and it's just the best thing ever. And then the partner sees, he slowly turns around, and it's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And there's like spots like that. There's the blowjob spots. There's so many Southern comedy tag team spots, the do-si-do and all this stuff. I mean, there's just so much, and I love that stuff. So I love whenever he's got to have a tag team over there, right, and do some of that stuff. And we'll get off the subject of Paradise Locks and get to the matches, because...
Well, speaking of comedy, that brings us to the final of the 4 of the first match.
Oh, yeah.
Yano himself.
Damn, I don't know how I forgot Yano.
Because he didn't enter the Rumble.
Oh, yeah.
He never got in the ring.
Yeah, which
is fair, I guess, since they were the final 4.
Interestingly enough, Brian Alvarez on Wrestling Observer Live said that was a finish that had been talked about before for the Royal Rumble.
Oh.
And
that is interesting.
They had never done it, but they had talked about it coming down to number 30 coming out, and having the guys as number 30s coming out, having 28 and 20. Well, they wouldn't be 28 and 29. The last two guys,
right?
Eliminate themselves.
Double elimination.
Yeah, double elimination by mistake.
30 wins.
30 wins before even getting in to give that guy heat.
Right. I mean, it's a very Yano thing.
Yeah, it is. I can totally see WWE doing that.
They probably will now.
Yeah. I mean, I could see them doing it. When Roman Reigns, even with the title, wins the Royal Rumble somehow. They
would do that.
I don't watch WWE, so I try to watch it during Rumble and Mania. I'm not going to try to be too cool for school here because we might review Rumble, we might review Mania.
Yeah, we watch it a certain time of year.
Yeah, and we try other times. We really do. And I'm not saying I won't watch NXT. I'm really not. But sometimes it's just, listen, I'm a wrestling purist. I am. I'm a wrestling purist, but sometimes things just...
Sometimes we have to struggle bus our way through it.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what I mean, right?
Yes, I do.
All right, so the official first match of the night was Hiromu Takahashi, and he had called out El Phantasmo because as soon as Hiromu won Best of Super Juniors, he could have called out whatever he wanted to, but he only thought it right to call out the Super J Cup winner because he's Ultimo Babyface.
He didn't have to have this match.
No.
He made this match.
Yeah, because he's going to take on everybody, by golly, just to shut it up.
Shut up, El Phantasmo being like, you're not really the winner because I wasn't in the tournament.
Yeah, well, El Phantasmo is a great heel because I hate him.
Yeah, me too.
That's when you're smart to it and you know what's up and you still hate somebody. Well, they're doing their job.
Yeah, that's true. But also, I hate that guy.
Yeah.
So I don't want to see him.
I can't imagine ELP being somebody I like in real life.
No.
Like, I just can't.
I don't want to hang out with that guy.
I've been in a locker room with MJF and completely, not to kill anybody here, but I thought he was so respectful and nice and, just wonderful human being. And most every guy that I've ever been around, it was like that. There's exceptions, and those will come out eventually, but...
You don't think ELP would be like that in the back?
Probably, but maybe it's his face.
Maybe.
He just has a face as a heel.
Maybe it's the fact he's awful. He's an awful person.
He's a hell of a worker.
Especially after what he pulled in this match.
Hell of a worker.
I know.
You mark.
I know. I just hate him so much.
Anyway, this was for the right to challenge Ishimori on night 2 for the title. So we knew how this was going to go. You're not going to have night 2 of Wrestle Kingdom without Hiromu.
Bullet Club versus Bullet Club.
Yeah,
I wouldn't put it past him after this year.
I wouldn't either. Listen, you talk about heat. Rags over here. Wow. You talk about shade.
Listen, I'm not the only one that had a problem with all this crap that they pulled, the G1 and Best of Super Juniors.
Rajja likes a world of winners and losers. And no... you just don't like fuck finishes.
No.
Not at all.
There's a place for them occasionally.
Like once a year.
Not every single match.
Yeah. That's why we don't watch WWE. She hates the 50-50 booking, and she despises... And
I just want things to make sense.
I think I've grown immune to it, and that's not a good thing. I think that I came to a point where my expectations of a WWE show were significantly lower than what I expect from Dynamite.
Yeah, and now we have New Japan and AEW, and they've significantly raised the standard.
Yeah, and I've always been, we've always been a fan of Ring of Honor and of the later days of ECW with the work rate ECW. I have that in a couple of different genres. There's like 3 eras of ECW to me, but the work rate genre was the best. But
I digress, though.
Yeah.
Even though there was all sorts of fuckery in this match.
Yeah, absolutely. But Takahashi took it against Phantasmo in 1746. Pretty long opener.
When every match is an important match.
Yeah,
you don't really have the short opening matches.
And speaking of, fuck finishes, we go on to GOD defeating Taichi and ZSJ.
A match they arguably only got because they cheated in the match before.
Yeah,
and broke Juice Robinson's face in the process.
Yeah, they did. They broke his face, but the Super Techers... ZSJ and Taichi, I don't know how they got over with me. Well, that's a lie.
I know exactly how it happened.
How was it? When was it? Because my memory is kind of... I remember the moment.
It was ZSJ versus Evil.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think Taichi versus Suzuki got him over as well. Yeah. Because that was a hard-hitting match.
Yeah.
And he basically, I think he was sort of like, you're not that much over me anymore.
Yeah, it was like, well, it was his coming of age. I mean, in New Japan, that just takes 10 years. And, you know, but he beat the captain. He beat the master. Yeah. And I think I tweeted that night that I didn't know I needed ZSJ as a babyface in my life until that moment. Because, listen, I'm a big technical wrestling connoisseur, but ZSJ just wasn't, like, I didn't hate his matches, and he does such creative stuff. And it's so not fair because one of my favorite wrestlers currently in wrestling is in AEW and pretty much is a mirror image of ZSJ.
Mm-hmm. Talking about Angelico.
I mean...
ZSJ and Angelico would be crazy.
We need to look up and see if that's happened.
Oh, you think they've faced?
I bet they faced. I bet they have.
Anything is possible.
They're like split from one chromosome. I mean, but
they are the same person.
ZSJ and Angelico, I don't want to see team because it's just too much.
You just want to see them face each other.
Yeah, that would be a clinic. That would be a clinic.
It would just be them just stretching each other all over the place.
Yeah, and they really have to get over on each other.
Who do you think would win?
Well, it depends on where we're at.
Oh, true. Depends what Fed we're facing.
No, honestly, right now, at the level they're at right now, it would be ZSJ anywhere.
Yeah.
He's one of the top performers in the planet as far as, I mean, you put ZSJ on the card, everybody knows who he is.
True.
So, I mean, and I think, honestly, he's kind of floundered in the past year. Like, he's been one of those guys that the pandemic was not good for him because I guess a lot of the traveling, like normally you would see ZSJ in America, you would see... these featured matches all over the place. And I think he just really somehow fell to the mid-card hell of, Suzuki-gun kind of, and you won't get this reference, I'm sorry, but it kind of became like Paul Jones' Army, which was like perpetual hell for whoever was in it because it was like this mid-card faction. It was always facing Jimmy Boogie Woogie Man Valiant in the war, and it was like a war of like 3 years or 4 years or something. Right. But it reminded me a lot, and of course my old school fans, and they'll get that.
Well,
but
I don't think Suzuki-gun is long for this world anyway.
Yeah.
I think somebody's getting ready to turn it into a different goon, just like Suzuki did to Kojima.
Yeah, and it needs to be.
Yeah, I think it's time.
I think at this point, it really needs to be. There was the rumors of Minoru Suzuki leaving before, and I say that, but in 2020 he had some of the best matches of the year, hands down.
Yeah, he's always good.
Dude, he doesn't show his age at all. That guy is superhuman.
He's scary.
He is terrifying, and I mean seriously, he does not show his age. I gotta look it up. I gotta see how old he is. Suzuki is 52 years old.
Wow.
Okay. In a comparison, by the way, he's a Cancer, which explains everything.
Oh God, it does.
Yeah, we almost have the same birthday, like date wise. He's 52 years old. Jericho is 50.
Oh wow.
So as a little comparison, there's a lot of 50-year-old guys right now that are working their ass off.
Yeah.
It's just a different time, and we're going to see that with medical advances and this and that. Well, you won't see the guys currently that are young. Because they're not going to make it on their backs and necks. There's no way.
No way. Those high flyers.
You're not going to see like old man Phoenix.
Yeah, no.
I mean, he'll be alive. He'll just be like Conan. He'll just be kind of wobbling around. I mean,
right.
You just can't do it. Listen, folks, it hurts. I remember the first body slam I ever took in training. I went completely numb from the neck down. And it was an instant thing. Of course, the guy that gave it to me is like 6'5", 6'6", and he slammed the shit out of me. I mean, he slammed me to kill me. And it was in a boxing ring. That's what I trained in. And it had logs. Oh, well, logs, Jesus. It had logs. It was a log cabin. We were barefoot. No, it had railroad ties.
Ow.
That was it was railroad ties as the boards.
Oh, no.
And there was a gym mat like your elementary school.
Uh-huh.
And then the tarp.
That's probably why your body went numb.
I hated taking that ring apart. It's the heaviest freaking ring.
I'd imagine so.
Ever. And it was so old. It was so up in the air. It was really high ring.
but it was an old boxing ring with railroad ties. And the first slam I ever took in there, man, oh my God. Because I worked in an old Crockett ring. And that was because I did some more training later on. And the Crockett ring, oh my God, I would have done an Alabama Jam.
It's like a dream.
Yeah, I would have done anything in that ring just because. And the good thing is, if you train on concrete, you'll probably be a pretty good bumper. Yeah, because you'll be able to protect yourself.
Yeah, you'll learn fast.
I learned how to tuck my chin really quickly.
I'm sure.
But yeah, Suzuki, I applaud him. I mean, that physical style. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's not taking some crazy bumps, but he does. He takes some crazy bumps. Yeah,
we've seen him take some nasty looking stuff.
I love the fire. And I love the Ishii and the Suzuki and I love that strong style.
We don't want to see him go. We're just concerned.
I just don't think he's going to be around long. I don't think he's going to be one of those coming out on the sides of his feet kind of guys. And I'll just leave that where I dropped it. But anyway, God cheated and beat Taichi and ZSJ. Mm-hmm. And then they broke rules and went through the crowd. I don't know if they got fined for that or not, but
I wasn't pleased with that.
No. Hey, listen, man. I love the guys.
Yeah.
Okay, and they are what they are. They don't care, man. And they are the sons of Haku, bro. Yeah. I mean, they are what they are.
We love the Bullet Club.
Yeah, Haku. He would have done the same thing. I really admire the fact that they're dangerous.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be dangerous. Mm-hmm. Bullet Club started out and it was supposed to be dangerous.
And it is.
And that's what they wanted. And now we have several members who are truly unpredictable, you know?
You never know what's going to happen.
And so that's
usually what happens is bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's the emotion it's supposed to bring. Mm-hmm. I don't like the interference. I don't mind the cheating. Mm-hmm. As long as you're cheating yourself.
Right, as long as it's not the outside interference.
I don't like that. I can't stand the kendo stick gimmick because why would you be allowed, just common sense, why would you be allowed to bring a kendo stick to a ring?
Right, when you're not in the match.
It'd be like me taking a revolver to an MMA fight. I mean, they'll be like, well, there's his second. He's got that M16 on his back. We don't know what he's going to use it for, but...
Well, to be fair, the other side did have Doki in his pipe.
Yeah, well, having Dookie is bad enough. Listen, there'll not be a reality where I'm over on Dookie.
No.
It's just...
And his bendable...
I mean, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, my God. I can't believe he slammed that pipe. And it just instantly
turned into an L shape.
But the best announcer in the business, Kevin Kelly. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about my love for Kevin Kelly. He's a wonderful human being. And I've always been a big fan of Kevin Kelly. Any of the work he ever did, and I was lucky enough because of this crazy business we're in this crazy world to become friends of Kevin. And through Chase, I got to become friends of Kevin. And so I bother him, not that much. But I bother him from time to time when he's trying to call a wrestling match. And I will say, I think he's the best in the business. I think he builds a complete story. He knows where it's going. He's smart enough in the business, been around long enough to know where the story is heading without being told. And he can kind of glorify the things he needs to glorify. And he's still got that, and this is meant as a compliment, he has that David Crockett to him, which most people will shit on David Crockett, but I grew up on David Crockett, and I love the fact David Crockett made himself the babyface. There was no ifs, ands, or buts that when you watch Mid-Atlantic Wrestling, which NWA Pro Wrestling, whatever, Saturday night, 605, whatever, David Crockett was on there. He was going, look at him, Tony, look at him. Yeah, he did that. But he also was like cheering, when Dusty would do something to Tully. And he was representing us.
Yeah.
And I think Kevin Kelly, even though he'll run it down the middle, Kevin Kelly also represents what the fans want to see happen. He's like that representative of the fans.
And don't get me wrong, I enjoy Rocky on commentary, but I really miss having the heel there too.
Yeah.
When Don was there and he was always on the Bullet Club and everything, that was a great mix.
I mean, yeah, but Don Callis is special talent.
True.
I mean, he is
can't replace him easily.
I'm glad that he's getting a run. Mm-hmm. Because he had a run as Cyrus in the 90s, but nobody remembers that. And he had to run in ECW. More people remember that than they do his oddities run. But, he had been in virtual obscurity this whole time, and New Japan really got his name back out there, and people were like, Jesus, this guy's like, he reminds me of Jesse Ventura. Like, Jesse Ventura is my favorite color commentator of all time, because he did what a color commentator is supposed to do.
Right.
By definition, add the color to the match. They've been in that hold before. All they're there to do is explain what that guy's feeling.
Yeah.
Explain what that hold is doing. You're supposed to sit there and go, well, Kevin, I've been in this, or I've been in the ring with this guy. And, Rocky does bring all that, but I agree. I do like the heel element, as long as it's not like the Michael Cole when he was doing that. As long as it's not over the top.
Right.
Where it's just, you got to still.
Where it's blatantly biased all the time.
Because Callis would put over the babyface.
Yeah.
He would say, well, I think this guy's probably the best wrestler in the world, but,
right.
Blah, 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 blah.
Well, honestly, they just need you.
There you go.
That's the color commentator they need.
So I got my one match, and it's funny because I got my one match. I got to commentate with Kevin, and I went with Chase down to North Carolina. We were working for PWX. And I got to commentate one match, a Chase match, with Kevin Kelly. And that event was, something happened. It exists, but they didn't put it on High Spots. And I don't know if it's up there now, but man, I waited and I waited. I didn't want to ask anybody because I didn't want to be that guy.
We'll try and find it.
But man, I really want that match. And it's something I didn't tell Kevin. I didn't go like, well, I love you, man. Right. It was just, you don't do that.
No.
Like, I've never been the guy in the locker room, even when I got to manage, arguably one of my, and it's weird that I like a guy like this, but when I managed Abdul the Butcher, I didn't just get a locker room pick with Abby.
Right.
I've never been that guy.
No, even when we were in the Northeast doing the fan thing, as you said, you would never go with me and meet the wrestlers.
Well, that is just because I've been in the business for 20 years.
Well, yeah, but it's because you're not that guy.
No.
You don't go and be like, oh, I'd love a picture with you.
No.
But I went and got pictures with everybody.
No, it's hard for me to get pictures with my friends.
True.
I just don't do it. There's some that exist. If you exist in a picture with me, I really like you. I'll just put it that way.
You're special.
You are special, and probably helmet special, but that's okay because we love you anyway. We might even love you more because we're that kind of people. Next, Kenta and Kojima.
The match that could have been.
So tell them what match it could have been.
Well, it was supposed to be Kenta and Juice. Mm-hmm. But because Kenta beamed him so hard on the head with that briefcase to let God win, he couldn't be there.
Broke his orbital bone.
Yeah.
And the match it would have been in a non-messed up world would have probably been Mox and Kenta. It would have been incredible. That would have been incredible because I think that would have brought out the old Kenta. I think they would have had a bloodbath.
Well, at this point, it looks like that's what we're going to get since Kenta won.
Well, that's the only Kenta match I can see that gets Kenta over. Mm-hmm. And Kenta needs to get over right now.
Yeah.
People don't remember Kenta.
No.
The Kenta that I remember. And it sucks because he's got so much to give. But New Japan is kind of, the fans are, dude, if you abandon them, mm-hmm. It's hard for you to get their love back.
Yeah, you can't just come back and be a babyface.
You have to pay your penance. Look at, Kota. They made him at least 30 or 45 seconds before they got back behind him. I don't know what the deal is with Kenta. Listen, they just didn't embrace him. But Gato, smart, had him go heel.
Yeah, they didn't Roman Reigns him to death.
No. And that will always be that term, won't it?
Yeah, it's a verb now.
Yeah, we didn't Roman Reigns him.
Yeah, they did it in the best possible way. So, obviously, Kenta gets the right to challenge Jon Moxley still because he beat Kojima. And eventually, hopefully, we will actually get that match.
But we did get the promo.
Yes, we did get Mox's promo, which was, as always, amazing.
But I think it answered a lot of questions. Because in his contract, supposedly, is he can't wrestle for another company on U.S. soil. He can wrestle for New Japan, but it's not supposed to be on U.S. soil. So obviously he's gotten approval for that. And
you don't think he'll go to Japan?
I think it'll happen in the U.S. I think he shot it in the L.A. dojo.
That's true.
Well, or wherever they shoot strong. Mm-hmm. So I think it'll happen there myself. I think,
now that they've got that place, I'm sure things have changed.
And normally, maybe the first New Japan show in America this year will be one like that, where they just send a few talents over or something and
just do a really good show
on
U.S. soil. That'd be pretty amazing.
Just to have it on, especially with the US TV deal that's coming.
Too bad we don't live in LA.
Yeah, but they have the United States TV deal, and when it opens back up, I got to see it in Hammerstein, and I went to the ECW arena in Hammerstein, and a third place. I can't remember.
I don't know, because I didn't get to go.
Yeah, I can't remember what third place was on that tour. Anyway, that one made up for the tour before that. But this next guy was featured on that tour before that. The only Japanese guy on the Charlotte, North Carolina show, other than Shibata coming out, was the Great Okan.
Yes.
In his first time on U.S. soil after being a young boy, a young lion, and he came out as the Great Okan, and I liked it right off the bat. I still like the gimmick. People are split on it, but I'm a big fan of Killer Khan from the 80s, and so I like gimmicks like that. I like gimmicks. And
I think he embodies it well.
Yeah, those Mongolian chops with the squeal.
Yeah,
it's great, and I like the Empire. I love Ospreay as a heel. I like having B. Priestley there, and Jeff Cobb as a heel really is a lot better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jeff Cobb looks amazing now.
Yeah, so we had the Greek god himself, Tanahashi. Really strange being a Wrestle Kingdom and Tana being just in a match like this,
and just a special singles match.
Yeah,
but it was good.
Yeah, I mean it was a solid 3.5 star match.
Yeah, we got it done.
It was weird, kind of, because you would think Great Okan needed that win.
I would think so. To
establish the Empire and to establish him. But sometimes you win in losing. I don't think this is one of those times.
You don't?
No, I just don't think that. Like, sometimes when I see a loss, Jay White, we're not there yet, but
not quite.
Let's just say the Jay White match.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there was a loser in that match.
No.
And
there wasn't in this next match either.
Yeah. So Tana defeated Great Okan in 17-13, and you can talk here on the next one because I know you love it.
Well, arguably the best match of night one, despite not being the main event,
right, was
Okada and Will Ospreay. A rematch from back when Ospreay was still a junior heavyweight, and they fought at the anniversary show, which was also amazing.
Both as members of Chaos.
Yeah, and then Ospreay had to go and spit on Chaos and Okada.
Yeah, and he really had to, or he was never going to. I mean, I don't think he was ever going to lead Chaos.
No.
So
no. There was no getting out of Okada's shadow while he was there, so he just had to go and do his own thing.
And to his credit, he's changed a lot of his style,
mm-hmm.
and he still does some of the amazing things, the aerial assassin stuff, but he has changed his style, and he's added so much muscle. You remember when they jokingly referring that Trent was now heavyweight,
mm-hmm.
and Trent looked exactly like he always had.
Uh-huh.
He should never have been junior heavyweight anyway. But, I mean, Ospreay really did.
Yeah, he definitely changed a lot.
Yeah, his style, his behavior, and his body. And he's better than ever.
And I think we all had Ospreay picked to win this match.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes more sense that Okada won, I think.
Okada won. They went out there. If we're going on 5 stars, I would call it 6 stars.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, Okada defeated Will Ospreay in 35 minutes, 41 seconds. It was a classic,
mm-hmm.
a all-time classic. It'll be remembered for years, and it's just one of those special Tokyo Dome main events. And even though it wasn't the main event, and the main event though was your boy Kota Ibushi defeating Naito.
Kind of saw this one coming because obviously it sets up for the redemption from where Jay White stole his briefcase and got that match for night 2.
Okay, yes, but let me ask you, isn't it nice to see it coming sometimes?
It is. It's nice to see it coming and then it actually come. Like, in WWE, Naito would have won.
Yeah.
And they would have been like, we don't care.
Yeah, no, Roman Reigns would have won. And Goldberg would have ran in.
Yeah.
And,
oh, jeez.
Yeah, something would have happened. It's just...
Despite seeing it coming, it was still an amazing match. And I'm sure there were moments where we were like, oh, he's going to win.
Yeah, I mean, there was. There really was. I mean, I really thought Naito was going to win it a few times.
But they just can't give Naito that moment. They can't give him his moment in the Tokyo Dome.
No, they've screwed him on that many times.
When he finally does get his moment, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I don't know if it's, I mean...
You don't think it'll ever come?
It's a hell of a ladder, man, at this point.
It is. And I mean, Naito's a top guy, but he's not the top guy.
Anyway, fantastic match in 31-18, and Kota Ibushi finally is the guy. He's the man. If for one night only, because Jay White comes out and gives the promo. He didn't screw him over. He didn't do anything. He came out, did the New Japan thing, which is the face-off. You know, hey, I'm going to challenge for this. And the guy holds up the belt. That's how New Japan does it. And that was fine. And then Kota got to celebrate and have his moment in the sun. So is that for just 24 hours? If they were going to do it to a guy, it would be Kota Ibushi.
Yep.
I really felt that he might be a 24-hour transitional champion.
Would have been so mad.
And a lot of people would have been, but honestly, I could have seen it happening for sure. Which brings us to night 2. Wrestle Kingdom, night 2.
Boy, howdy.
It took place on January 5th, 2021. And what a night it was.
Unforgettable night.
It's very unforgettable.
What it was.
I think that night 2 had the distinct honor of having some of the matches that I would not have booked for a Wrestle Kingdom. But due to, the constraints of what they had, although arguably we could have had Ishii in a match, we could have had Suzuki in a match, as we spoke about earlier.
We could have, but we also had quite the replacement for both men.
We did.
On this card.
We did. Of course, as we talked about earlier, our boy Chase, which is going to be referred to, Chase Owens, Bad Luck Fale, or Bad Rack Fale, Bushi, and Yano went at it in the opener for the King of Pro Wrestling provisional title of 2021. And in 7 minutes and 34 seconds, Yano ended up defeating Chase, Bad Luck, and Bushi. And it was good old Yano antics that really did this, where Bad Luck and Chase were kind of arguing a little bit. Chase had the pin. Bad Luck was like, no, not so fast, my friend. Pulled him up. They were just having a brotherly discussion. The referee gets involved. They pull the referee into the air, and then Yano comes in and gives the double nut.
Classic.
Which is Yano's finisher, if you've been paying attention. I don't care what people say his finisher is.
Your TVs don't go out at that point.
Yeah, his finisher is the nut shot. On a game, that just needs to be his finish. You need to charge up for the nut shot. It is what it is, folks.
I think Chase would have won if antics had not occurred.
Chase, as the King of Pro Wrestling provisional champion, would be interesting and would be great booking and good character development. For Chase's character, I think you could do a lot there. I don't know. I think that they need to do something.
He definitely needs a rematch.
Yeah, well,
he had it in the bag.
He did call Yano out, so I can see a series of comedy we're building up to even like another one-on-one.
Yeah. I mean, you did say you wanted to see Chase do more comedy. This might be his chance.
I just think if they're going to have a comedy match, that the perfect person is Chase. Because Chase could go in there and have a classic. That's the only thing that sucks is he could be, with his skill and the things I've seen in person, he could go in there and have a main event. He really could. And he's an incredible worker. He's smooth as hell. He's so good that you don't realize. It's kind of like Jason Kincaid. He's that good.
All the talent in the world.
Listen, man, Jason can take I've watched Jason take somebody who absolutely doesn't know, well, the old, they're a wrist lock from a wristwatch, and literally guide them through a match. And he just tells them like, hey, relax, relax yourself, go where I take you.
Right.
And he could take you in there and have a 5-star match because he's that fucking good.
Right. He's that much of a technical wizard.
And if you guys don't know the gift, Jason Kincaid, you need to go look him up. You need to go find him. He's got a bunch of Evolve stuff out there. You can find him, a little bit of Ring of Honor stuff, and a whole lot of stuff from NWA Smoky Mountain, Championship Wrestling Alliance, and Innovate Wrestling. So he is living in Colorado now.
You don't want to miss out.
It's really good stuff, and love the guy like there is no tomorrow. He's one of the best human beings you'll ever meet in your life. And going on to match 2, Rajja.
All right, match 2, we had Kanemaru and El Desperado beating Taguchi and Master Wato to keep their junior heavyweight tag titles.
Yeah.
which is a division that could use a little more
foreigners. Yeah, could use a little bit of more talent. We'll just say that, because I don't know, man. Again, I don't. If I never see, what's your favorite Taguchi match, Rajja?
I could not tell you that at this moment.
Right. Do you remember your favorite Master Wato match?
I don't think I've seen that many.
Okay. Yeah. So we know our favorite Despy match.
Oh man, we already talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
Holy carp.
Yeah. And Kanemaru is one that the boys love him. And anybody who watched New Japan Pro Wrestling or, Japanese wrestling years ago, you know what a great worker Kanemaru is. Fantastic worker. So it's just, he just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah.
Personally, it's 3 out of 4 of these people in this match. I would absolutely buy the Japanese popcorn.
Go to the bathroom.
Whatever the equivalent of popcorn is for the Japanese people. But yeah, it's bad.
What we're saying is we'd just like to see a few more junior heavyweights form cohesive tag teams and vie for the belts.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the future.
You got to look at how good that division was just a few years ago.
Oh, man.
It was fantastic. And it was just fantastic.
To be fair, they did have the Young Bucks.
They did. But that's
kind of been lacking since they lost all those
right
people. So
yeah, well, a little ROH, a little AEW getting in there. Hopefully that happens this year. Hopefully we get that bonding of the two.
Bring in the luchadors.
Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm so pissed about not having Fantastic Mania.
Oh, I know, it's so good.
That's one of my favorite things of the year, and it's not gonna happen. It's
maybe next year.
Yeah, it just sucks, man. It just sucks. So, and plus, something interesting about an AEW relationship is AEW's relationship with AAA, because New Japan has a working agreement with CMLL.
Oh,
so
that's true.
That probably isn't going to fly very well, but wouldn't it be cool to have that be able to mix in Japan?
That would be amazing. I bet those guys would love that.
I don't know.
You don't think?
You
don't think they've thought about wrestling the
competitive rivalry, man? Yes and no. I don't know. There could be some dream matches. It could be some interesting shit. So we'll see what happens. Next match. My God.
Speaking of interesting shit.
My God. So I didn't know that I needed Shingo versus Jeff Cobb in my life until Shingo versus Jeff Cobb happened. In fact, when I was looking at this card going in, Shingo Takagi could wrestle my pillow, and I'd be pretty excited about watching the match. Jeff Cobb, not so much. I've just, he is what he is. It's great.
We talked about how much he's come
a long way since
turning heel.
Absolutely. And the thing is, the guy's never been a bad worker.
No.
And he's done stuff that I like and, all this, but he's just never been able to be featured in a position that was fitting to him, because I don't think he's a hang 10 gnarly kind of guy.
No. His character just didn't work.
No. I hate it. And if I have to see SPLX, I don't know. Just, I don't like the character that was Jeff Cobb, just because it wasn't a character. It was just, there's Jeff Cobb.
Yeah.
I love the little bit of gray in the freaking beard. I love the I'm pissed off. This is me looking like a freaking Rhino. In the days before Rhino was Rhino now.
Right.
When he was scary ass ECW Rhino. Kid Cash versus Rhino for the TV title, Rhino and ECW. Hard ways and stiff shots and all that good stuff. But Jeff Cobb is the real deal, man. He's legit. He's an Olympic level, wrestling badass. And having him come out there with the greasy wet hair, coming down in the front and just being like a fucking pissed off.
I was worried for Shingo.
I love it. Okay, so when they get out there and they start fighting, if you've watched any Shingo matches this year, holy crap, man. I just wasn't expecting what you got, because the thing you get with Cobb is you get a different, you up the athleticism. Most of the guys in this bruiser division, okay, because that's what it is. When you've got the never open weight title, should just be called, Rocky said, the BMF title.
Mm-hmm.
Even though that's UFC's deal. Something like that could totally be it. The Ass Kicker Championship.
Like the FTW title.
Exactly. Because all the matches have just been fantastic, man. And
that's a division you don't want to get into if you're not prepared.
It's almost like they pulled Ishii and Suzuki, and when you think, well, man, they could be in that match with Shingo, but hey, we've seen that. As great as it is, we've seen it, and you can only 5-star that so many times before it gets a little redundant, even though I don't know if punching someone directly in the face is ever going to get redundant.
Jeez.
But
it did add the extra element of Jeff Cobb's athleticism.
Yeah.
On top of the bruising hits and that.
I think what we have there, even though Shingo's a legend already, I think that he's got a little bit more mileage than Ishii does.
A little bit.
So I think that you've got the next Ishii and Suzuki kind of, with the two of them. If you want to position it correctly, you've got a hell of a trilogy if you want to do it.
I'd pay to see that.
Oh man, I mean, if they do it right, because everything has to be a trilogy. I love trilogies, but 3 big matches with them would be fantastic. And it's New Japan, so you don't have to have a damn gimmick match. You don't have to have anything like that. It's better just with the brutality. Brutality is a Japanese word. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's like
right.
It's like brutality, except it's got honor.
I see.
So
okay, I remember that.
With the brutality of this, it was just I listened. 5 stars all the way. It's fantastic. It's violent. It's just
Let me ask you this: who comes out of the trilogy on top? Who has the belt after it's all said and done? Shingo won match 1. What happens next?
I think that you want to, because Cobb you just got, right?
Right.
I think you want to have Cobb as the one on top at the end, just to elevate him. And have Shingo go up and challenge for the heavyweight title.
Ooh, interesting.
I think that Shingo in that mix because, in a lot of federations, to go back to even WWF of the 80s, the Intercontinental Championship, the secondary title, was always the Workers' Championship. That's always been the deal. You had Hulk and Andre on top, and that's the attraction, but you have Macho and Rick Steamboat, underneath, which are the workers that are wowing everybody. You have HBK as the IC champ. The list goes on and on and on. Mr. Perfect. Think about that. Workers. But can you imagine pulling one of them up? Which we did. Think about the classic HBK matches, right? Think about Steamboat and WCW with Ric Flair. The greatest matches of all time have arguably been when you pull up that worker from that secondary matchup to that main attraction.
Right.
And I think people love it. I think that it works. So I think Shingo at this point, let him go through this and have something happen, and you give Shingo a main event run. I know he could carry it. I know he's got enough people that love him that it would generate the interest with the right story.
Definitely.
And the right story is obviously going to be him and Naito.
I could totally see that.
I think some kind of breakup deal, something.
Oh no, not a breakup.
Oh yeah, no, Shingo would have to be super heel.
We already have Sonata going for the belts.
Yeah, I just think Shingo super heel. Just nasty, spitting at kids.
I could see it.
That kind of heel. Or honestly, Naito
getting fed up again, because he's been kind of docile about all this, and just completely getting rid of everybody, going at it on his own or something. It's like, I'm done with this. I'm done with all of you.
And winning, as a heel, as a super heel, super villain, venomous piece of crap. And Shingo would be a great baby face.
Yeah.
People would love him.
I don't know how the fans would handle that.
I don't know. I think they would believe it.
Yeah, I agree.
Should Naito be mad?
Absolutely.
Yeah. If this wasn't real and it was all scripted, would you be upset if you were Naito?
A little bit.
Yeah. Because you've done what? You've drawn the crowd.
Yeah, you've been the name that everyone
There's no
comes
argument.
to see.
No argument. I know in the United States it's not like that. In Japan, LIJ is your top seller.
Yeah.
During the whole Bullet Club craze here, that wasn't the case there. It was LIJ.
Yeah, they're definitely the top babyface.
They're the draw. Naito's the draw. Everything that happened in his story is the draw.
Just like Hiromu's the draw.
Yeah.
They're on top of the world over there.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think that there's a lot of money to be made. And I think Naito has an argument. I think anybody who understands the fact he's been robbed a few times, you know? And I don't personally feel that way. You know, I've got my favorites. I'm just saying, big money draw. I could see it happening, though. I would totally book it.
Well, speaking of LIJ,
by the way, Shingo beat Jeff Cobb and is the never open champion in 21-11. But go ahead.
Our next match, we had Sonata versus Evil in a You Broke My Heart grudge match.
Yeah. Now, this should have been a gimmick match. Now, personally, I think it would have helped it if this had been a bull rope match. I don't know.
Something.
Yeah.
Just something.
It's a pit of alligators. I don't know. Anything to bring it more...
Just more.
Maybe if we would like rub some muscle rub on Sonata's sack before he goes out, just to give him some facials, you know, like
I was most disappointed with the fact that Evil didn't know how to get out of the Paradise Lock because they'd been best friends for so long. Like, I thought for sure that was something he would know.
See, you were probably, my God, you know what? You just outed yourself. There's probably some fanfic out there that you wrote under a Phantom name where they're in a bedroom together. And back when they were, you know, BFFs.
Oh, God.
And you're like, hey, Evil.
Sonata puts Evil in
let me show you the Paradise Lock. Oh, I can't get out of this.
Oh, God.
I know.
Listen, I love fanfic. I don't write fanfic. I'm really bad at it.
Just saying.
Speaking of fanfic, Hiromu Takahashi. Wait, sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. I apologize, everyone. Sonata beat Evil, which is what we all imagined would happen to rectify his betrayal.
Yeah, and then Evil goes, I knew how to get out of it all the time.
I just let you do it. Oh, God.
So the next match, as the beautiful Rajja said, Hiromu Takahashi defeated Taiji Ishimori in 25 minutes and 31 seconds of bloodlust love. IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion Hiromu.
Yay.
And yes, the big celebration, the cats are dancing. Freaking-tastic match. Fought the way it should have been. Ishimori pissed off. Hiromu having to sell like crazy. Hiromu selling the night before. Just really classic stuff. Comes back, big ass spots, you know, just great stuff. And
typical Hiromu.
Yeah, just typical. You're going to get a 10-star match. I mean, fantastic, man. Fantastic. But just at the moment that I once again thought that nothing could outdo this.
Oh, man. It was a little bit overshadowed there by the main event of the night. Our match between Kota Ibushi and Jay White, because Jay White has that briefcase that he stole. But this match was absolutely beautiful. I don't know how else to put it.
Right.
The storytelling in this match.
It's the storytelling. I could not handle it. It's absolutely the storytelling. This was the long-term storytelling at its best. It was everything that... Listen, AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling are the absolute kings of rewarding fans for paying attention. Rewarding fans for everything, you know, for watching every time. And they do the best. Listen, man, Gato, he either retcon stuff to such a degree you can't tell, and it's just like, he meant to do that the whole time. Or, you know, he really is the genius in pro wrestling. Tony Khan has proven himself to be a genius in pro wrestling. And a lot of that simply comes from paying attention, from following through. And I don't care what some tired old timer might tell you about how wonderful the booking was at some other point in time. Listen, nobody watches more classic wrestling than me anyway. You will not find a night that I don't watch something from 1983, 84, 85, 81. It's always something. I live in all the eras. And, you know, I absolutely love all the stuff. I mean, we could sit and talk Ron Fuller booking for the next 7 hours if you want to. That'd be fantastic with me. I would love it. But there is also this whole thing about the long-term booking and not following through. And example A, what the hell was in the manila folder when Baby Doll brought it out to Dusty? And, you know, I did it on NWA Pro Wrestling. I'd like to know, please. I'd like to know.
Please tell us now.
Jim Crockett Jr. comes out and gives Dusty the belt buckle for winning the Bunkhouse Stampede and being the Bull of the Woods for the 3rd consecutive year. And Dusty kind of looks at it. I'd like to know what kind of heat was going on there, too, because he kind of looks at it and just throws it over on the ring.
I noticed that.
Without even shaking Jim Crockett's hand. And Dusty gives a promo, a generic promo. It was a generic promo. I think he's waiting on Baby Doll to come out. He just, on the butt of the woods, if you will, and go through all this stuff. And then Baby Doll comes out. He's like, oh, looky here. And she comes out and she's just like, Dusty Rhodes. And, he shows him some pictures in a manila envelope. And he looks at him. He doesn't say a word. She says, I want that U.S. title shot. For Larry Zbyszko, it'll be under our terms because there's more of this. Everybody thinks you're the American dream, blah, blah, blah. And then she kisses him like the kiss of death, walks off, and he says nothing. He doesn't respond. He doesn't say, you dirty whore. He doesn't do anything like that. He walks off visibly pissed off, in character, obviously, in kayfabe, but he's visibly pissed off and he walks away. So listen. This was never rectified. This was never, this never came to a conclusion. Now, a lot of things like that have happened throughout my life of watching wrestling. And it's stuff that'll just eat you alive and piss you off. Before I go further than this, Cody Rhodes. This is an open beg.
This is a request.
Cody Rhodes, if you have any of your dad's old stuff and there's anything written down anywhere, any booking sheets that's written down anywhere from when he was booking at that moment and says anything from where that was going to go or what was in the pictures, you gotta bring that back. I don't care if you bring Baby Doll on right now. Just bring her back. She's alive, right? So bring Nicola Roberts back. Bring her out there and just be like, interrupt the match and be like, Cody, I said years ago that I was going to let this out, and by God, make her want something, and let's find out what it is, because I need to know. This is ridiculous. It's went too long. Okay, now, that was only supposed to be used to talk about my point here, and my point is, I think we're actually living in the golden age. As far as if you like wrestling for what wrestling's supposed to be, an emotional journey that has a huge payoff at the end, and that builds to the next thing. That's an emotional roller coaster, keeps you invested, and all of a sudden you're sitting there watching a match, you're not expecting it, and somebody comes out and you're like, oh my God, that was that, this was this, Jim knew Randy, and Randy blew John, and Martha was over all of it, and oh my God.
It all makes sense.
It all makes sense. It all comes together in some beautiful moment of clarity. Or as I like to call it, anti-WWE. Because what you get in both federations is you get clean finishes. Mm-hmm. There's rarely a DQ or anything like that. I don't think AEW maybe's had one. Maybe one. But New Japan by rule kind of doesn't have anything like that. They
just let things go.
They let it go to an extent. They won't count. If Red Shoe sees a chair shot, no, I'm not going to count it, you asshole. No, not going to happen. And I love that. Because it pays off. It rewards you for your time.
You feel good watching it.
Instead of turning something on and just having 50-50 booking or something just moronic and stupid and then something that they drop the next week.
Like building up Lana and then kicking her out of the match.
Stuff like that,
and then you just feel bad.
Or punishing people, or beating people because it's their hometown.
Yeah.
Just stupid crap that I can't stomach. It just sucks. And I try not to let it suck. I don't want it to suck. I want everybody to be really good and great, and I will continue to give them chances.
We give it a chance. We always give it a chance.
Give peace a chance.
There are people in said federation that we enjoy watching, but the booking just makes it so hard.
It does. And it doesn't matter who is producing it or booking it, writing it. You got to do it. There's got to be some fundamental changes. The fundamental change for me is, number one, is giving the boys bullet points. No scripted promos. It can't be scripted. It's got to be from the heart. If you don't know your character well enough to come out and do a promo as your character, you don't belong in said character. Okay? It's not your words. It's somebody that wrote on one episode of The Walking Dead. It's not what you need. You could fire every single one of those writers, mm-hmm. and the world would be much better off. You're going to win. You're going to win. You're going to win. Oh, by the way, this is going to end up here in a year. All right. So you kind of subtly go to it. Here's your bullet points. Talk about this. That's the pay-per-view. Here's the free show. Da-da-da.
This just in. People aren't as stupid as you think they are, and they can tell when people are not being sincere.
Yeah, and
it kills the mood.
And guess what? This is also just in. The boys are not as stupid as you think they are. And they can actually go out there and throw a promo. Now, it might suck at first. You know, look at Britt Baker.
Yeah.
Britt Baker's first promo was atrocious. Mm-hmm. And it was so bad that it turned her heel. Which
is fantastic.
Yeah, because it's the way that it needs to happen. But now, I would rather hear a Britt Baker promo than any other lady on the roster.
Yeah.
And, you know, I love Britt Baker.
She's amazing.
She cracks me up. Her and Rebel crack me up. It's just, I love it. I'm entertained by it. And that first one, I was there live for.
Yeah.
And it was just brutal.
Mm-hmm. It was embarrassing, like secondhand embarrassment.
Yeah. You were with me, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
it was bad.
That was bad. And
gives you the willies.
Yeah, the live crowd all actually shit their pants and threw it at the stage. I mean,
it was wild.
It was so bad, guys. This was bad. But you know what wasn't bad? Britt Baker, 10 feet from Britt Baker in the ring.
All this to say that Kota Ibushi versus Jay White was so rewarding. We finally have
See what we did there? We came back to it.
Our boy on top for good. Well, for now. But coming out of Wrestle Kingdom, Kota Ibushi is the double champion after not securing the belts last year.
Do you think it's the first time Kota's been on top?
I'm just going to gloss right over that.
Right.
And Jay White is a mess.
Yeah, he's a hot mess. So,
for good reason.
So the big story coming out of this, obviously Kota Ibushi finally gets the payoff. He finally gets the win. He's finally the man.
In the longest match in Wrestle Kingdom history, I might add.
Yes, and that is 48:05. He won both the Intercontinental and IWGP Heavyweight Championships. It was fantastic. 5 stars all the way.
Probably even more.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just trying to say it was perfect.
It was an amazing match.
And the emotions, the selling, the story.
Murder Ibushi.
Everything that happened was right. Jay White gave everything he had, and it wasn't enough. Okay, that happens, folks. That's life. Now, I think there's a lot of you out there that can relate to that story, because think about this. Jay White gave everything he had to work for this company. And he gave them everything they wanted. He changed in every way possible. He went to places they needed him to go and paid the price, paid his dues, traveled across the globe to pay his dues. And he comes back and settles in, and everybody thinks, hey, Jay White is the guy.
He did everything right.
People are saying, Jay White's the guy. Jay White's the guy, right? He gets there and he gives everything he has. And then he gets fucked.
Right.
And I think that a lot of people out there can relate to that story and feel the sympathy, feel the pain that Jay White had in the post-match press conference, which is one of the greatest promos of the modern era. Although it's just a lot of sadness, him saying he's done. Now, here's the thing. If he's saying he's done because he's done and he's going to WWE, I'm not going to like that promo very much in hindsight.
No, that can't happen.
In hindsight, all the rumors out there, I don't believe him. I may be wrong.
Yeah.
I think he's trolling. Mm-hmm. I think New Japan is trolling everybody.
Right.
Hey, there's interest from WWE. You know what?
They put that rumor out
there. The only thing that causes that is getting one of the boys to text Alvarez or something.
Right.
Or text somebody and be like, Jay might be gone. There's interest from WWE.
Oh no.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so you think they planted that seed?
I think that the perfect story is we don't see Jay, we don't hear from Jay. Mm-hmm. There's question marks out there about Jay. Even make it seem like his contract is done, right?
Right.
Whatever. And then we have Jay just pop the hell up. Mm-hmm. Just the most unexpected time imaginable. Okay? The most unexpected time imaginable. That's one way. The other way is Jay coming out as a babyface.
That was my first thought when I heard the promo. I thought his wording saying, I'm not doing this anymore, made me think he was making a change from Bullet Club.
Well, that's because you're a babyface in life. I'm a heel in life.
Right.
I'm just saying that, yes. Do you know who makes the best baby faces? The dirtiest heel.
Ah.
Because everybody wants to cheer that heel.
Right. And so once they're the good guy, everyone's like,
when
yes.
when you've taken them so far, when you've taken them as far as you can as a heel, it's time to turn them baby. When they have massive heat, it's the same thing. It's two sides of the coin. Love and hate are the same. I think you're using the same part of your brain.
Same emotion, essentially.
Yeah.
But just positive or negative.
Right. You're putting that much attention on that thing or person. So he's got massive heat.
Yes.
People.
He had heat with me after the G1.
Yeah. People have seething hate for him, but it's not X-Pac heat. So
no, it's a good kind of heat.
I'm sorry. I have to laugh.
No, we don't have to laugh.
I have to laugh. I got to tell you, this is for you folks that's made it this far into the show. That means you're coming back, right? So I'm just gonna tell you, a few months back, doing the wrestling thing of Rajja. You know, she's getting the terminology. She's grown up with insider terms.
It was a moment of weakness, and
she just made a common.
I almost killed someone.
So she's like, we were talking. Who were we talking about?
Jordan Oliver.
Okay, we were talking about Jordan Oliver, who we love.
I adore Jordan Oliver now.
Yeah,
keyword being now.
She hated. She would have knifed him.
That's not true.
He reminded her of every jackass from high school.
I'm sorry. I judged by looks.
Yeah. So anyway, Jordan Oliver is going to be huge. But we were talking about it, and Rajja's like.
We were arguing about Jordan Oliver, and they were trying to say that I was very hard on him. And
you were like, you know, you're like, well, he's got Tupac heat with me.
No. I said, it's not like he has Tupac heat.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I about killed my brother from laughing, and I had to sit there for a second.
Yeah. Listen, I haven't personally laughed that hard.
It's an honest mistake.
And it wasn't laughing at you.
I know. That's why I'm not.
It was laughing at the statement because it's so funny and it's so fitting. But it's like when you take X-Pac heat to the next level.
Right.
Like you wanna pop a cap in this son of a bitch. You know what I mean?
Yes, that's why Tupac heat is a regularly used phrase around our house now.
Hashtag Tupac heat. That is a BTW podcast original.
Yes, you'll probably hear that a lot.
So we will have hashtag Tupac heat with quite a few people. And you know, I can think of some now, but we won't reveal that. But
can't give away the farm.
You know, there's Tupac heat out there, and there's some people we would rather pop a cap in. Now, when I say pop a cap, I mean like a literal cap gun. We just want to, like, you know, take a cap gun to scare them when they're not expecting it, because we don't condone, you know, the violence of shooting someone, unless it's maybe a dart. I mean, something I may want to inflict some kind of harm, like there's a, you know, they used to draw and quarter people, and I like the thought of drawing and quartering with Shetland ponies, because I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen, right? You're not gonna pull the person apart. It's going to cause some minor discomfort.
They're too tiny.
As the confused ponies try to get away from one another. And I mean, I don't know. Maybe realign someone's back, shoulder. It should be discomfort, though. And at the most, there's going to be confusion when they wake up after we've chloroformed them and they're naked with a broom up their ass and being, you know, tied to 4 ponies.
So that's your lesson for today.
Yeah, there you go. That's what happens when you have a bad match. Just remember
that's what happens when you look like you went to high school in East Tennessee.
Yeah, that's it. That probably did happen at high school in East Tennessee. That's what we get up to on Friday nights when there's no wrestling on. So anyway, Wrestle Kingdom. Pandemic, reduced crowd, you know, matches, having to use the roster. I think the main roster proved themselves beyond a shadow of a doubt to be upper echelon. Amazing. Hey, we can pull this off.
They showed that they didn't need other people to have a great show.
We don't need no stinking gringos. You know, we got this.
We could do it on our own.
We got this all ourselves. So yeah, the Gaijins were not needed, but we had some nonetheless. I think they count Chase as Japanese.
Yeah, I think if you're there long enough, they're weird. Like, you're part of the family now.
Yeah, he's going back in like 2 weeks for the whole tour, so it's cool.
Fun.
Anyway, thumbs up, toes up, everything. If you haven't watched it, shame, we know your name. Get on that. And
Go watch.
Don't get no Tupac heat. All right, this leads us to something we normally love. Normally. I'm putting little air quotes in normally. So normally New Year's Dash is a big boatload of fun. And the reason it's fun is because it's setting up everything for the coming months, coming year even. And a lot of times it's your goodbyes and hellos. There's surprises. There's all kinds of stuff. It's New Year's Dash, man. Mm-hmm. That's just what it's been. Last year was lackluster.
It was.
And I was.
You can't really blame the
very disappointed. You
pandemic.
Can't blame the pandemic. So this year affirmed the fact that I'm never going to be excited for it again because, listen, it's not like anybody threw turds at the crowd, okay? It wasn't like that. We know the situation we're in. But when the best thing about the event is the venue.
Wow, that was really cool.
It's the Hammerstein of Japan. If nobody's seen the New Japan City Hall building, it's Hammerstein.
But it's underground.
It is so cool, though. It is so freaking cool. I want to see something violent in there. Like, I want to see chicks in cages.
See some Yakuza happening.
Just some, yeah. I mean, man, you really took it to the next level there, didn't you?
Sorry.
I mean, what the hell?
We're not supposed to mention that.
We don't talk about the Yakuza, Rajja.
Sorry.
Tupac. Anyway, they did set some stuff up. That's my Japanese translation for I'm going to keep going. Nagata defeated Gabriel Kidd in 7:59. And the thing here with Yuji Nagata, obviously Gabe Kidd's not going to win yet. But God almighty when he does. Gabe Kidd is one of my 40%ers because I love this guy. I love this guy so much, and you'll understand 40% in the coming episodes. I'm not going to get into that now because that's a long story that requires some Eric Darkstorm.
If I'm not mistaken, he's your pick to win the upcoming Young Lion shows.
Yeah, and the thing about that is I was already in love with Yuya. Mm-hmm. And when I look at this kid, I see the pictures of Tana back. You know those pictures where Tana has like a chest the size of Milwaukee?
Yes.
And he's just a young kid, but he's like, holy shit,
Yeah.
Wow. And there's a lot of pictures of, you see a lot of guys like that. I always love seeing the young boy pics.
Yeah, they're great.
But a lot of times you can tell somebody has something.
Yeah.
Even from a look. Mm-hmm. Yuya has that look.
Yeah.
And he has the ability.
He does.
I love the whole crop right now.
Even Tsuji is amazing.
Yeah.
In his own right.
I love the crop. But listen, Gabe Kidd comes from that British background. He's got the catch wrestling. He already does the cool reversals. He does the little extras that I love. If you're taking a guy down and you put the foot in the back of the knee to make him go down, just stuff like that. Stuff that makes sense. It's the little extras is what I'm about. And he just makes me happy in happy ways. Happy little flowers, a little happy tree, a happy Gabe Kidd. And any British guy who puts the kid in his name brings back enough dynamite to me that I'm just like, this guy's from England. He's wrestling in Japan.
It just works.
Dynamite Kid. I'm good with it. I love this guy. I want this guy to go on and do amazing things because he's just great. So that's what I got out of the first match, and that's what I was thinking about the whole time. So I can't tell you a damn thing about the match. But I'll let you just handle the next one here as we quickly go by these because I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this because I'd rather fuss about it.
All right. Well, the next match was Doki and Suzuki against Tiger Mask and Yuya Uemura.
Yes, it went 10:45. Obviously, Doki and Suzuki up.
Doki and Suzuki.
You go up to the next one. You have what are they calling themselves other than the Empire?
The United Empire.
The United Empire, who didn't win a single damn match on the new big faction that you're building. So you got Cobb, Okan, and Will Ospreay going in there. They beat Tsuji, Kojima, and Tenzan.
But now they're mad.
Yes. And if we're setting things up, this obviously means they're going to break into every elderly home they can and beat up a bunch of old people for the next year. There might be some real heat there. Hey, we're beating up your Japanese elderly. I'm with it. It's
just not cool.
I'm with some Mongolian chops on like an 85-year-old person that has no idea what's happening.
Well, we definitely got some setup in the next match, which was Bullet Club, El Phantasmo, Ishimori, and God. They were facing Kanemaru, Desperado, ZSJ, and Taichi. Mm-hmm. So a big old tag team fest.
Tag team turmoil. So obviously we're setting up rematches. We'll rematch with God because God, as we talked about in Wrestle Kingdom, cheated to win. Those dirty bastards.
And they still have the iron fingers.
Yes. You don't want the iron fingers. It's I don't know. And back, I'm sorry, I got to go back just a second. So we're going back to Will Ospreay and United Empire. Uh-huh. Whatever they really do, I have a feeling that we're going to see some domination this year. There's going to be a title. I think, personally, that Ospreay might be in the world title mix.
By the end of the year?
By the end of the year.
I could see that.
I think that, I really think he obviously has the talent. He has everything.
Well, yeah, especially after that match.
Talent. In fact, if anything, New Japan is talent rich at the top. Mm-hmm. I think there's a logjam.
Yeah, a bit. There's too many guys that you're like, yeah, he could be a champion.
Yeah, like they've got too many franchise tags.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the problem is you can only put that on one person.
That's true.
And
it can only be one guy at the top.
With the competition out there right now, especially with the guys who don't, a guy like Will Ospreay.
Yeah.
He can go any country, anywhere. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to do something with him.
That kind of brings up an issue if they do unify the belts, because that takes away a whole title.
Takes care. I mean, that's a whole semi-main.
Yeah.
Now, the only thing that I thought about that, if they unify it, less belts is special. I get it. I do. But I also think that the IC belt could be special. I think that the guy makes the belt, or the booking makes the belt, really, of protecting it, building up its honor. Basically like they did with the TNT title. Mm-hmm. It became more important than the world title.
Yeah. My issue with it is that you have the Never belt, but it's become a very specific thing. So not everyone really goes for it all that often, because it's usually the bruisers that are handling that. Right. And you've got the US belt, which has kind of disappeared in recent months because of the pandemic. Well, but I guess if that comes back...
I didn't think about that. I mean, that's a huge belt.
It is. You tend to forget about it because it's been off the air for so long.
Kind of weird, because we'll just see what happens.
But now that they have the LA dojo and the United States programming, are they going to keep the US belt?
Well, as we know from what happened on NJPW Strong, they got one of my... Listen to me when I say this. I want you to listen. I want this cut out, put on YouTube. I want this out there for the world. There's been a guy for years that I've been live, I've been front row, I've seen. I've not got a chance to share a locker room with this guy. I've had friends that shared locker rooms with him and worked with him, and the stories I've got actually made me happy finding out what a miserable bastard he is. I love this guy. All right, this guy's he's my spirit animal, and that's Chris Dickinson. And that's Dirty Daddy. It's a crime against nature that he has not already been featured in a major promotion.
Agreed.
But Dickinson in New Japan, even though I don't know the details, all I know is from his tweet, he was thanking everybody for the journey. He was saying that, it's more important to him to control, his legacy. And he is, he just debuted for Team Filthy.
And there's only one place he ever wanted to go.
Yeah.
And now he's there in some capacity.
In some capacity, which once they see him violently destroy someone, and that look on his face where he looks like some damn bird of prey. Seriously, if you look at his head and you look at his face, and I mean this is a compliment, when I talk about a bird of prey, I'm talking good. I just see him like a cartoony, like some kind of gargoyle or something, some kind of, you know what I mean?
Totally see that.
You see what I'm talking about? Like picture Chris Dickinson squatted down on top of, with
terrifying,
with some kind of storm going on, and he's on this castle wall, but it's really him. He's looking down. He's got these wings. He's got these fangs and stuff, but it's still his scowl.
Right.
I mean, do you not see him as like that guy?
Yeah, totally.
When he's pissed off, he's in the zone, man. He totally looks like that to me. Like he's gonna jump down and just like
and eviscerate someone.
Yeah, absolutely. He's gonna disembowel him, and so I think there's a lot that can happen, and I'm really excited.
Me too. I can't wait to see what they do with the whole United States version of things.
The rest of the things went like, Yoshihashi, Ishii, Goto, Yano, and Okada defeated the Bullet Club, Chase Owens, Yujiro, Bad Rack Ferre, Evil, and Jay White, which Jay White kind of phoned it in. Jay White took the pin, which even more, those two things smelled like storyline to me. You can look at it the other way. You're going out, you do the right thing. Doing the right thing is laying down, counting the lights. That's what you do, old school. I can see Jay White also doing that, because this guy, when I met this guy, Jay White was the picture of, and this is what I've told everybody from the first. So being backstage in New York, walking out the back of the Hammerstein, and seeing Jay White, just the way he acted, the way he held himself with the boys, the way man, this guy's honorable. This guy took it serious. This guy held himself like a champ. All the respect in the world to this dude. Same thing with Coda. And this is something, listen, I'm going to tell it just because it happened. We're walking back to the hotel, and I'm staying at the hotel with the New Japan people because of Chase, and I got the chance to go to all three shows and be there with Chase, and it was really awesome, really cool, a great experience, and I owe him like 1,000 times over for that experience. But when we were walking back, Coda is walking in front of us. Well, Coda did a leg deal or something where they worked his leg during the match. So he's just basically pulling his dead leg behind him down the streets of New York City, okay? And we're walking all the way back, and I'm thinking in my head, what a weird fucking life I have. I'm walking back with a mix of drug dealers laying on the side and whatever, just the poop of New York City. We're walking back to the hotel there, and we walk in and we kind of duck into the corner there, and Coda's like, straight up, man, I'm not going to tell you anything that was said just because I'm just not that way. But let's just say he was being true. Okay, he was being true to the character, true to what happened, to the point of all the way back to the damn hotel, selling the damn leg. He was not going to be seen talking to a heel. He was not. I mean, it was just cool, man. It was just really cool, and I have all the respect in the world for most all those guys. They do it right. They do it right from the program of the young boys on up, and I think anybody they actually let in also has that kind of respect and love. This match sets up a lot of possibilities, a lot of things, but we'll just have to see what happens. LIJ in the main event defeated Wado Show, Rocky, Tanahashi, and Ibushi. I wanted to get to this because I wanted to tell you the award already given this one for the year. 2021, nothing will beat the most anticlimactic call out of the year and in the history of New Year's Dash. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You want to tell the people?
Bushi calling out Master Wado.
Yeah. So we end the show. There's some call outs happening. Bushi scored the pin, so in keeping with honor and tradition, he's the one with the mic. Mm-hmm. God help us. And he calls out Master Wado.
I can't wait to see that program.
I bet they're making ceremonial shirts for it.
Especially after we had a whole face-off with Shingo Takagi and Tanahashi.
Yes. Now,
they give Bushi the mic.
Yeah, Shingo and Tana for the Never Belt. It's happening. That's interesting, because if you've never seen Tana go into kick-ass mode, what a great place for Tana's career to transition, because arguably it sucks doing that style.
Yeah.
Because you're beating the crap out of each other, but it's also a lot less on your knees and your hips. Mm-hmm. It's your chin.
Not so much jumping around.
It's chops and punches, and stuff like that. I mean, it's physical as hell, but when he goes nuts, I've seen it before, very rarely, but I love that Tana.
Yeah.
And so I think that having that kind of match is fantastic. Think about what Tana can do and what he can still bring. and bringing it in a match like that.
I can't wait. I'm excited.
It's pretty cool, man. When you get Tanahashi and you're talking like mid-card, man, what kind of card are we talking, you know?
Well, I'm almost more excited for that than the upcoming title defense because it's Sonata.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, the upcoming title defense is going to be, well, I mean, listen, I'll give it a chance.
It's Coda, so.
You never know what'll happen, and as long as there's not a Paradise Lock, I'm fine.
You know there's going to be a Paradise Lock.
So, there was no real big surprises or anything like that, and as much as I'm giving love and hearts and stars and all that stuff, do better. Just do better.
We know you just had 2 nights of Wrestle Kingdom, but come on. But
on January 6, 2021, there was another show, and this other show, AEW Dynamite, New Year's Smash, Night 1, well, they had some surprises, didn't they?
A few.
Hell of a show. Absolutely top to bottom, hell of a show.
They did the New Year right.
Yeah, I mean, we started out with the Young Bucks and SCU defeating TH2 and the Acclaimed.
Those tag teams, all of those tag teams are just great.
So, really over on the Acclaimed.
Yes.
I'm really over on them. I was already over big time because of the Collective. When we watched the Collective, out of the whole weekend, there was one team that stuck out to me.
Yes, I remember.
Who was that team?
Top Flight.
Top Flight is amazing. Personally, I like them better than the Acclaimed because I think that Max Caster is a singles icon waiting to happen.
You don't think he should be in a tag team?
No, right now, yes. But he is such a young rock. He's got that charisma. He's got that je ne sais quoi. He's got that thing that will, that guy's a main event player.
He's just fun to watch.
He's a main event player. He's going to be fantastic. He's an entertainer. He's got size. He's got everything. Top Flight is a lifetime tag team. I'm saying that's a Rock and Roll Express to me. That is a
wow.
That is a real tag team.
High praise.
I don't know, man. I love them. They have it too.
The moment we saw them the first time, we were like, "Oh wow, who are these people?"
Well, yeah. I mean, when you stand out like that, and when you're on the indies, and you could stand out, and it don't matter about production, it don't matter about anything like that. You kind of shine through all that. There's been people that's done that before. Anthony Henry has done that for me.
Definitely.
To the point that we've worked Anthony and before, and I don't care. I'll tell him every time I walked up to him on a show I wasn't working on, that I was just at in the back, and it's like, man, I love your work. And I don't care to do that. I've been around now long enough that I don't give a crap. Just like, dude, I love your work.
Just give him some props.
I got this, I got to see him in New England as a fan, and that was the cool thing about that. I got to witness a lot of people working, because normally at a show, for the past 20 years, I haven't paid attention to crap.
You can't really see that well from the back.
I mean, I don't try. You meet the guys, they come in, they go, you don't think about it. I mean, seriously, you just meet them, or you have the match, and some of the ones that are on top of the world right now, like we did a ladder match, Alex Zane and all those guys before he broke out, you just don't think about that stuff.
Yeah.
And you call the match and they have it, and a lot of these guys go on to greatness. I remember, so many people just coming on. I mean, so many people are like major stars that you just don't think of like that. So when they stick out at that level, there is really something special about them. And it don't always happen, because Davey Richards stuck out like that to me, and I know he's got prominence in his own way and all this stuff, but Davey Richards was one of those that, like, I think there was more there.
Didn't quite get to the level he deserved.
Yeah, I thought he was he was like a New Japan champion kind of level.
Oh wow.
And he was just, when Chase had the match with Davey Richards, everything changed for Chase. He was different afterwards, and of course Davey was seconded by Kyle O'Reilly. It was just a hell of a fight. It was really good, but it did its job. It changed Chase from then on out. But back to Dynamite, we went from the Young Bucks to the Moxley promo, which,
oh man, that Mox promo, he just went for the neck.
Mm-hmm.
He just called Kenny Omega out and basically said the old playground rule of, I'm going to get you and you're never going to see it coming. So the other kid just stays awake for like 5 days waiting for the other guy to come and get him.
Yeah,
it was great.
Good. I mean, good comparison. I agree. Cody called out something in that match too. The fact that he used the boogeyman line again. And that was the second night that he used the boogeyman line.
Yeah, because he used it in the Wrestle Kingdom promo.
Now
he called himself the boogeyman.
More than likely, he's going for something there.
Oh, I'm sure. There's more to that than...
He's looking for a moniker.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like that's going to add on to it. It's just kind of like Austin, right? Austin had like 20 names that Jim Ross was calling him by the end. He's like, the Texas Rattlesnake, the Unbridled Passioner,
It's going to turn into a Kenny Omega-esque ring announcement.
Right. Some people just get a lot of things added to their name. I don't know. Maybe he's the boogeyman now. Who knows? Wardlow defeated Jake Hager. Now listen. This one I'm excited about. I'm excited to tell you about this one because as I was talking earlier about no screw jobs, right? This one was a lot of people thinking, well, they'll probably go, this one will be a double count. This will be something.
That's what I expected.
You're looking at Inner Circle versus Inner Circle. You're looking at all this crap, right?
You don't expect someone to just go over.
No, you're looking at all these factors. Two guys they're arguably building, and neither one of them can afford the loss, right? If you were going to do that, how would that go? Well, Wardlow wins clean. He wins clean.
Much to our shock and awe.
Not mine. I said somebody would win clean, but I was still shocked that it happened. I will agree. I was pleased.
Yeah, it was great.
I was pleased, but I really thought it had to happen because of the way they book.
It made sense.
And it did make sense. It will always make sense. And you know what? It didn't hurt Hager a damn bit.
No.
It didn't hurt him a damn bit. And that's the thing I hope people figure out. I get so sick of this whole, well, I can't put him over, I don't. The fans don't give a shit. They want clean finishes. They want winners and losers. They like the fact that somebody lost and they have to deal with that emotion.
Yeah.
And then they did the right thing by showing Hager in the back, dealing with that emotion. That makes him a human being.
Yeah, with MJF slipping in there.
So does this actually bury the heat with Wardlow and Hager, or does it make it worse?
I don't know.
And
we're all pretty sure Wardlow's heading for a face turn.
He is headed
real quick.
He's headed for babyface. Listen, Wardlow's a beautiful man. He's got the body. And listen, when you get in pro wrestling, there is just certain things that you're going to do. Like I can walk through a Walmart, and I have alarmed other men before. Because listen, I'm straight as a freaking arrow. In fact, there's arrows that are not as straight as me. But I will say, hey man, you've got a great look. Wow, you're sexy as hell. What are you, like 6'4"? And you got, oh man, that's a big chest. You ever thought about wrestling? So there's been a lot of awkward conversations start that way for me. There really has. One of them turned into one of the greatest things I ever trained.
Sometimes it works out.
Yeah, sometimes it works out. Sometimes it's just an awkward time.
Sometimes they're like, oh,
yeah,
thank you.
Sometimes they're like, woo. But it's Wardlow's that guy, man. He has a lot that he can give, and I think he is box office.
I love watching him.
Yeah.
And every time he comes on screen, I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Wardlow.
He's got it, man. And the cool thing about it, if you listen to his interviews, he's a student of the game. He loves pro wrestling. Mm-hmm. Grew up loving pro wrestling.
That's fantastic.
I just love those guys. That just does it right.
Yes.
I hate when they hire an athlete that doesn't give a damn about pro wrestling.
That's just looking for the next athletic thing to do.
Looking for the paycheck.
So that brings us to the point of the night where we had our weigh-in for the TNT Championship match.
Which was kind of cool. Real sports feel. Everybody does the contract signings.
This one had a point to it, though. This weigh-in was just so that Taz could get Brian Cage on the scale and be like, oh, look how big my machine is. And then get Darby Allin on the scale and be like, oh, he doesn't weigh 100 pounds soaking wet.
See, if I was Darby, I would show pre-gas Brian Cage pictures.
Just dig them up.
And just be like, here's pre-gas Brian Cage. I think I was bigger than him. Because, man, he was small.
Well, basically, it went the way Taz envisioned because Brian Cage weighed in slightly over 100 pounds more.
And I called
Darby
it, by the way.
Yes, 170.
Yeah, when they called him 270, I said Darby's going to be 170, but I don't believe it. I think Darby's 130.
We don't think Darby Allin's 170.
With boots on.
He was wearing a lot of clothes.
I'm just saying. I mean, maybe he's got a 170 because of his hog. I don't know. Anyway, to keep Priscilla Kelly happy. For all that time, you'd have to have something packed. So
Taz was Taz, as he always is.
Yes.
And Darby Allin was not about to take that. He was like, I know why we're really out here. Let's just get to it. You're going to try to beat me up ahead of the match, and so you have an advantage, even though I'm 100 pounds less than your guy. What kind of sense does that make? But
yeah,
the lights went out before anything could happen, and good old Sting. Good old Dad.
Yeah.
Came on out to help. So
Dad came out there for Darby. I want this story to go one place. I want Darby to be the element of a rat. I want Darby to be like, I never knew who my dad was. And they're going to figure out, Sting's going to just come out and say, well, here's the deal, Darby. Back in the day, there was this thing called ring rats.
Your mom just happened to be one.
Your mom got, she was a sponsor.
Dear Lord.
She was a sponsor. I built a fence around her. So none of the other boys had anything to do with her. I got a little bit of heat for it, but she gave me you. I never wanted anything to do with you.
Darby, if you're listening, I'm sorry about talking about your mom.
He probably thinks it's a great idea if he is listening. Like, damn, I'm Sting's son? Yeah. The only problem with it is you can't use a last name, right? Because it's Sting. So
right. It could be his mom's last name.
Be Darby Allin Borden. Because, that's Sting's real last name there. So, I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know where they're taking
this. That's totally not going to happen. Not in that progressive writing room. So,
I mean, unless they're going to do some kind of turn and Sting is going to challenge him for the TNT Championship, I just don't know where it's going.
Well, I mean, you got a mentor. You got maybe... I know they talked about cinematic matches, which, I mean, man, if you're going to have a cinematic match... Darby does so many of the cinematic things anyway.
Oh, yeah.
On his own, it would be perfect because he's kind of like that indie metal band of cool videos on YouTube.
Yeah. I hope they shoot it completely in black and white.
Oh, of course it would be. Of course it would be. But if you're going to have a cinematic match, because that's really what you want Sting to do. Maybe he can have a tag match, come in on a hot tag only. But we don't want him to be hurt. We don't want him to.
No.
We don't want to have anything happen where he's exposed and he pulls like a Goldberg Undertaker. Nothing like that. It's just right now he still has the allure, but something has to change. I'm cool with it. He can come out every week, but there's got to be something happen. It's getting to the point where something has to happen.
Do you think he's gonna corner Darby for the championship match?
I don't know.
Because Taz is gonna be out there.
I'm really up in the air. I really don't know. I don't even have a thought.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, it's depending on how much he wants to do. He might just be like an Arn Anderson, but he seems like he's going to be more.
Yeah.
The way he's coming
I'm sure
out.
TK's got something.
Yeah.
In the bag.
We'll see what happens. And next we had Cody Rhodes defeating Matt Sydal, and of course Snoop Dogg did something off the top rope.
He did a move of a sort.
I'm pretty sure he had sex with Sydal on the way down. But it was still better than Matt's debut.
Oh, Jesus.
So, poor guy.
Oh, man. That just buried him for life.
Poor guy.
Right under Snoop Dogg.
It's almost worse when they keep trying to make it better.
Yeah.
Sometimes, when you try to make something better, you just draw attention to it.
Yeah, because every time people see him, they're just like, oh, it's that guy.
Sometimes just don't tell her it's cold in here. Just go with it. And, this is one of those moments, I think.
I mean, the whole match was just a setup for the Go Big show.
Yes.
Just kind of a promo.
Yeah, it was. And it was great for what it was.
Yeah, it was fun to watch.
Then we had Hikaru Shida defeating Abaddon.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, I've seen some good talk about this, and people like the character stuff.
There are two roads here.
Yeah.
There are two roads when dealing with Abaddon. There is the train of thought that the booking was handled improperly, and the train of thought that the commentary on the match was handled improperly. But something was handled improperly, and this match was not as good as it could have been.
Yeah, and like I said, I've actually seen some love on this, and which surprised me. I don't like the biting thing.
Me either.
I didn't like it when Shayna Baszler did it. I don't like this. It's got to stop. Okay, that's stupid. It's just stupid.
It makes her less scary.
Yeah, when you have all this good, don't put that in there. She knows how to wrestle. She can work. there's a lot there that's good.
The sitting up thing is scary enough.
Yeah, I mean, you can pull
crawling.
You can do the Taker thing, do the Bray Wyatt thing. She does all of it, but quit with the biting thing.
No more biting.
Unless you truly bite a chunk out of her damn neck, and I can see veins and stuff. Then okay. Anyway, it is what it is. I'm not going to poop on it too much, because we got to get.
She'd have kept her belt, so it's okay.
We got to get to what really matters here. We got to get to one of the greatest television matches on free TV that I can remember since, Barry Windham, Ric Flair, 45-minute draw in early 1987 on Worldwide.
Wow, that's a long time.
And I'm not talking like excluding like Clash of Champions or special things they do like that. I'm talking about your regular weekly show.
This is free TV.
Yeah, your regular weekly show. It was really amazing. It was a really great match. And did I expect a great match? Absolutely. Of course I expected a great match already. We all did. We all knew what we were going to get. But we got a little extra on it, I thought.
Oh, man.
That moonsault into a German by Phoenix.
We all tried to figure that out for 20 minutes.
On top of Omega's damn head. I mean, there was just a lot of good to this. But Kenny wins. And then something else we expected happened, but then it turned into something we kind of didn't expect.
Yeah.
So the Good Brothers come out, they get involved in a fracas, and what's cool is they're beating down Phoenix because obviously in the back, for whatever reason, Pentagon and Pac,
triangle
are being destroyed and being held back. And the thing I really love is the boys from the front row. All the AEW Dark roster, jump in and they get beat up, but they should jump in. They're sitting there and they're seeing this happen. If this is a real fight, I mean, this is what should happen. So obviously, Good Brothers are dealing with them just fine. Young Bucks come out to talk some sanity. Hey, let's stop this. It's fine. But then super kick by Matt on one of the Varsity Blondes, and yeah. So long story short, they all too sweet.
Yes.
And we're left...
Nice little reunion.
We're left hanging with the true Bullet Club reunion. And of course, they're not going to call it Bullet Club. Well, they might. We don't know what they've got cooking.
Yeah.
So we can just say they're not going to call it that. We don't know what it'll end up being. It's cool, man. It's really cool. I love it. Everybody should love it.
And you never know which way it's going to go because the Bucks aren't necessarily heels and they probably don't really agree with what Kenny's doing.
It honestly reminds me of watching The Mandalorian as a Star Wars fan because they did all kinds of fan service. Mm-hmm. Mandalorian fixed so much from the recent trilogy that hurt so much in that fandom. The Mandalorian series it's a weird comparison, I know. But for me, it brought back so much faith in what they can do that it got me excited for all the upcoming projects. Got me going back and watching the old ones again and all this stuff. And that's what this did. This is the kind of thing that as a fan that loves the wrestling, loves the stories, that kind of stuff's awesome, man. That's what you watch it for. That's just cool.
Yeah.
And, we'll see what happens. And to your point on something earlier, you're talking, hopefully there's not another Exalted one. I do think that there's somebody that could pop in and lead it, and that was a person they thought about doing it at one time anyway, which was Marty Scurll.
That would be interesting.
I think
given the current Bullet Club situation.
Well, yeah, I think Marty's dynamic coming in with those guys. Can you imagine? Because I would put him back on BTE in the Dark Order segments. Can you imagine Marty with those guys in comedy segments?
That would be so funny.
That would be the greatest.
I mean, I could totally see them being like, we need somebody to get us back on track with our bad guy ways, and they find someone called the Villain.
Yeah.
And they're like, let's call that guy.
Yeah, no, exactly right. So he just comes in because he's like, look, and they don't want to listen to him maybe because he's not the size of Brodie, but he pokes him in the eye with an umbrella.
They're expecting someone
I
big.
can just see him being like, oh, bloody hell, like that,
break their finger.
Yeah. I could see him breaking a different finger every week and having 5 with the big glove on. I mean, there's so much there.
Yeah.
That
needs to happen immediately.
I think that it's beautiful. I think that could happen. I know that Marty had some issues and stuff, but listen, I'm not going to get into the semantics of it, but there was nothing illegal. This has all been taken care of. They parted ways, the Ring of Honor. I think that the guy came out and said the right things. And I think that it's just time. I think that you don't really address it. You just put them on there. If 2 people are angry about it for a week, that's fine.
They'll get over it when they see the amazing comedy.
There'll be a lot more people happy about it. Anyway, great show. Fantastic. Leave you wanting more. We'll see what happens on night 2. Dark for the week was great too. There's gonna be some weeks we'll dive in the dark big time.
There was so much this week though.
It was it was still really, really good. So I don't know. That was, we wanted to review these shows because from that emotional high that left us on, starting out with that emotional low.
It was one hell of a week.
That's not even to mention, oh my God, I'm so sorry not to say about Danny Hodge, rest in peace. Arguably one of the greatest wrestlers of all time that passed away right when Brodie did. And it did get overshadowed because people, they don't know who Danny Hodge is in this era. But Danny Hodge is there's got to be a time where I just run it down. I know on my Facebook, as soon as it happened, I knew his accolades off the top of my head. And I wrote them all down. And just, put the picture up, the respect, all that stuff. And then the Brodie Lee thing happened and the whole world
melted down.
Yeah, the whole world melted down. But it was an emotional week of ups and downs and crazy twists and turns. And man, it's fun to be a wrestling fan.
It makes you tired, but in a good way.
Yeah, and that's hopefully what we do, is make you tired in a good way. So just letting you know, BT Wrestling Pod is how you get a hold of us. So tell us what you think. And that's it on Twitter. That's it, Instagram, Patreon, Facebook. And on the Patreon, we're looking to do some fun stuff, some real fun stuff, some watch-alongs, and good things like that. So looking forward to it. And the more support you give, the more we do. So that's it's all kind of based around that. We really appreciate you. For those of you that have joined in right here from the first, I can't wait to meet and talk and, really form some fun stuff and some extra groups and all that stuff with all of you. We're not going to go anywhere. We're going to give this the long haul. So
we're excited.
Yeah. Anywhere you would, anything you want from the show, anything you would like us to cover or things you'd like us to get into, let us know. And we'll open to suggestions. The thing is, everything goes because you don't know what's going to come because it's a blind tag, baby.
This is our world and we can do what we want with it.
That's right. As we said, blind tag wrestling, you'll never see it coming. For Rajja, I'm John. So long.
See ya.